Okay, so previously in Eridon, the Forsaken Winds have continued their imprisonment by Moira, a powerful witch and one of the four talons of the king of Durast, Zephyr. You all reluctantly agreed to come here to help spare the lives of your troops and remain close by your friend Jiri's side, whom Moira desperately needed for experimentation. She wasted no time analyzing him, studying his blood, and even extracting from his body the dread iron fluid that has imbued Jiri with a substantial power in the time you've come to know him. She revealed that this fluid substance contains, bound within it, the essence of a powerful entity known as Hyperivel, and that its already fractured state of mind, at the time of its binding to Jiri, likely scattered his memories and sundered his psychological being. Hyperivel's removal from Jiri has left your friend deeply exhausted and borderline catatonic. But before experimenting further or allowing Jiri to recover, Moira rapidly facilitated a meeting the following day with Zavar, now supreme leader of New Durast, which encompasses the nations of both Durast and Creatia. Arriving on the wings of a striking red wyvern, Zavar greeted you all with some curiosity before subjecting you eventually to a fight. Not against himself, though he was eager to, but against the large bone devil which was conjured by Moira. So, in your prison rags and with very precious little inventory at your disposal, you fought the devil to defend yourselves and protect the vulnerable Jiri, all while Zavar and Moira watched in amusement from above, while Rome investigated Moira's lab deep below. After a thorough search, Rome stealthily returned to you all in time to see the devil fall and Zavar begin to take his leave, though not before Telperion extracted from the king's mind a single thought, which earned the immediate and ferocious retribution by the king and his celestial bident spear. After the king's eventual departure, Moira escorted you all back below to your cells, eager to experiment on Jiri come morning, but she would let him recover for a time first. And then she stopped by Telperion's cell to strike a deal, or offer one at least, so that Telperion might not tell his friend Tobirama what he had seen in the king's memory. And as Moira leaves your cell, Telperion, and leaves you to think and consider what deal, what boon you might be willing to ask for in return for not revealing to Tobirama what you saw, you all are left alone in your prison cells once more here below Lux Monastery. Jiri is still fairly shell-shocked, occasionally muttering nonsense, trying to get out some cohesive words occasionally, and is currently being tended to by Tobirama. Over the course of the next 12 hours or so, you will all be left alone to rest, recover, consider what you want to do. Does anyone want to go first on what they might be doing during a long rest, functionally?
I'd like to try and understand a little more of what Jiri's state is. See if there's anything that seems more mundane in his ailment, something that like simple medicine could help
Sure.
with.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have plans for spells in the morning, but that's gonna have to wait.
Yeah, go ahead and make a medicine check.
Plus 5. 17 plus 5, 22.
You rapidly determine fairly what you suspected to be the case. There's very little physical evidence of pain, wounds, things like that. However, this deeply settled exhaustion taking hold in Jiri's body is clearly manifesting physical signs, even if it is a mental condition. So although you don't see bruising, you don't see cuts and scrapes, his skin does feel cold to the touch, which you are able to attribute to the removal of Hyperivel, the hex metal has given him his warmth, and you've seen steam ejected from Jiri's body at the hex metal's surge of arcane energy in the past. But there's definitely a physical component to this, either tied to the removal of the dread iron fluid or something manifesting from Jiri's mind.
Can I add to that, Chris?
Absolutely.
You do notice that Jiri does look like off, different, not like his normal self. Like I mentioned last session, his weight, he seems much lighter. His skin doesn't seem the same color as before. You see like, I don't know, patches of like gray, even sometimes red appear. His hair is starting to fall out too in certain areas. And he seems lighter than before, and it does physically look like he's having a hard time like using his muscles. Like he's having a hard time, even though it's very dim in here. Whenever he does like open his eyes, he seems like he's squinting. Yeah, that's what I want to add.
So you recognize also that greater restoration type magics aside, which might benefit his form to a degree, will only do so step by step, slowly over time. You also can just tell that Jiri almost looks malnourished. So he'll need good rest and nourishment overnight if he's to recover over time.
Can I make a history check?
Yeah, absolutely. What are you thinking about?
This question, and I'm happy to not do it my thing in a big chunk, but since it's tangentially related, Toperian has thought he heard the word change a lot, and I want to know if he knows he's ever heard of a changeling.
Yeah, go ahead and make a history check.
It's 11.
11?
Yeah.
You might have heard of the term before, but you're not sure if that's a monster, a beast, a species, a designation for a creature. Like you've met quicklings that are little agents of the Fae, so you're not sure if it's like that. You might not know the capabilities, but it definitely does not seem to be something widely known enough for you to have common knowledge of it.
Okay.
Jiri, I'd like to also ask, if you're willing, I might instigate something in the future, even if something doesn't happen now, but I'd like to get an understanding of what is going through Jiri's mind right now. What things might you be muttering to yourself, and if you're willing, giving us a depiction of what's happening in Jiri's mind. If you're not ready to go there yet,
Sure.
that's where I might poke in the future.
Yeah, Jiri currently is still muttering, and if it's something that Toby is listening to, I can elaborate specifically on what he's saying. But there seems to be some type of like internal dialogue that's playing out that he's saying out. And you've seen this before. Like sometimes Jiri will like say thoughts that are occurring in his head out loud, and there just seems to be like different voices, almost like implying that there are different like parts of Jiri coming forward and speaking to one another. And the conversation so far, what you've heard of it, kind of just revolves around what's been happening, or what has happened since the hex metal was removed from Jiri. He's mentioned briefly that something about walls being torn down in this process, and that different memories are coming forth because of these walls being torn down or missing. Something in his mind has changed, and now he's coming to the realization that there are others in his mind. Predominantly, go ahead.
Because also when I was in his mind space before, didn't it seem like the seven-horned figure was kind of almost creating the dome? Was that the idea I
These
got from I knew I
separate
like
or outside of it, and you, if you recall, that there were these different sections of
Right.
memory that were different colors, but they had been isolated and sectioned off by like almost like looking like a dead section of these memories lacking light.
gotcha.
And Toby Rama, what you may be remembering has to do or may have had to do with the idea that Jiri has many times mentioned that Adras, he was storing Adras's essence in his bottle, carrying his air. But then when you were in his mind and saw that floating figure above, the way the cascading neural impulses of synapses firing, but was really more like a multicolored storm, the way those arcing bolts would run through the sky sort of depicted that there was this dome locking Jiri or the many minds
Right.
inside. So it's just a sort of different connotation than
So that's at
was
least the
previously
thought
depicted.
Toby's thinking about is if that was removed, if that was needed to keep the useful memories around, now everything's just free roaming there. Okay.
Yeah. So specifically what Jiri's talking about right now is you hear this, you've heard a few voices. You've heard mainly Jackson, Meko speaking, but this third voice that you've never heard before, kind of a softer tone than Jiri's normal, like really raspy voice is coming forward quite frequently. And right now it's currently talking about Aldark dying in the darkness, alone, but for us, a sickness of the lungs, of death sentence in such places. And you, Jiri, a dream formed in this wretched place, with a mimicked voice, clothes stripped from a corpse, and memories from a fairy tale, just enough to form a new memory form. Yet somehow you escaped. It's currently what he's saying.
Put that in the chat. This is the voice that we don't have a name for?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Toby, as Jiri continues to mutter and you imagine his body is fighting for survival and recovery, are you tending to him in any tangible ways right now, or just keeping an eye on him as you both try and undergo a long rest?
Yeah, I've got him under whatever blanket was availed to us.
Got a switch?
Oh, yep.
Moira, can we get a Nintendo Switch in here? Kind of boring.
Is it just the blanket in the cell? Is that it? There's like nothing in here, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much a couple bundles of hay with a blanket thrown over it.
So I've got him on there in that, and I'm just doing my best to pay attention. I know how Roulette's mind works, so I'm trying to keep track of information, so that next time I'm able to talk with her, I can relay that. Just like what he's doing, how he's shivering, what his breath is like, keeping track of all that stuff. And then while I'm doing that, I'm also just in my mind trying to piece together everything we've learned about Jiri so far and see how this, if it's bringing it to a more cohesive idea or if it's not making sense with what we know. I think it's, for Toby, making a lot of sense hearing this voice saying these things.
Well, as you continue considering your friend's predicament, you hear grinding of stone and a deactivation, almost a humming of magic outside your door, and the slab door shifts into its recess in the wall, and you see once more a Reaver in front of you, who just sort of aimlessly like gestures with his axe in toward the room, and then continues on. And one of these infernal sphere guardians walks into the room, and from its internal casing, a flap raises up and some steam lets out, and it sets down a long wooden plate that holds some salted pork, some wheat biscuits, and a single boiled carrot, as well as a tin pitcher of water.
I'll take those
Baby bird it to him.
and try and gauge if this thing's trying to stick around while I eat.
It does not. It retreats, and you see another. You can hear the clattering of more of these in the hallway, and as it leaves your cell, it allows 3 more to pass by it before it leaves and retreats. But then over the next minute or so, the rest of you are greeted by a reaver, sort of shepherding one of these infernal spheres that each walk into your room to deliver some food to each of you for this night before retreating.
I'd like to
They
take
leave.
some time to try and inspect the food in the water.
Okay.
When they leave, I press the digitation to make it taste better.
Okay.
Because that's like something it can do. It is not useful.
Yeah,
Does it-
it's somewhat nutritious, and honestly, for prisoners, this is maybe a cut above like normal prison slop that might be given. So you imagine this might be another meal that was facilitated for some of the soldiers and forces that occupy this location, but was just given down here for you all. So it's somewhat all right food, but yeah, it definitely could stand some upgrades via magic.
As the infernal orb delivers the food, Roulette would definitely pique her interest, and she'd probably try to get at least a little bit close. Mostly, she knows what it's supposed to look like, and she knows what this one looks like, and she wants to see if she can just do some sort of comparison in her head for anything. How did they build this? Or, yeah.
You can't, with your knowledge of these creatures, your creation originally, you can make at your choice either investigation or arcana check with advantage.
We'll go.
Jeez.
We'll do investigation. I'm just gonna click this twice because last time it did something weird. 30.
30's really fucking good.
Holy shit.
So what you're gonna learn here is, in RP, not mechanics, quite a good bit about their stat block functionally. Using the basis of knowledge you have for what a steel defender should be, your construct of Alfie's original casing, form, etc., these obviously do not all contain mithril wiring. That was something dedicated to one construct, and you're not sure where that may be. But all of these look like they're similarly built, however, with cheaper materials. They're iron instead of steel. However, they have what you now can quickly recognize, though maybe not read, is infernal glyphs all over their body rather than your more standard common arcane runes. And therefore, their AC is probably just under what your steel defenders was. But they may have similar speeds, they may have similar hit points, similar statistics, and perhaps most notably, you're able to quickly determine that, like a steel defender, they'll be immune to poison. Beings of infernal flame powering them, they're also very likely immune to fire. And you've already seen when it stabbed Tobirama that they carry some flame damage with their aggression.
Got it.
But they would have the vigilant property, just like Alfie did, where it can't be surprised, and advantage on some perception checks. You also, with that high of a roll, being powered from some sort of infernal engine, not only would grant it immunity to fire, but it may be able, based on the patterns of the runes, even if you don't understand them in Infernal, you can sort of recognize the arcane work at play, and you'll likely think that that core may one be unstable and hazardous if destroyed, but two might facilitate charges with which these things might be able to conjure forth spell effects from. But AC you would think is lower than what Alfie's was.
Thank you.
But over time, they leave the hallway in a single file line, followed by the Reaver as he takes his leave and allows you all to eat your meal in peace and silence.
I don't have anything particular I'm doing in my long rest, just contemplating the deal and wording, and also thinking about what I know of these things.
Okay. Roulette, other than your quick momentary study of these constructs as they entered and then left, you were given a journal by Moira. Are you spending most of your night analyzing, looking at that, taking notes? What's your focus, or are you just glancing through that and then moving on to other thoughts?
I want to, as much as I can before even falling asleep, copy spark notes essentially. I don't need to do word for word for like all of like the internal musings from the writing, but highlights, key points, formulas that are in there. Yeah, I'll definitely be jotting it into my own notebook.
2 items of note. Number 1, by reading these journalings and taking notes of the formulas there within, you do learn the recipe for the Feral 5 virus. Additionally, you're obviously not able, unless you have means that I'm not aware of, you obviously don't speak Infernal, and therefore might not understand the commentary written in there by Moira's Infernal script. Are you transcribing note by note that stuff for future reference? Okay.
Yeah, anything I cannot read, I will do identical carbon copies into my notebook, and I'll like reference it like this was next to this point, all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Feral 5 what?
Check.
The Feral 5
Sorry?
formula.
The Feral 5 virus.
Triple F.
All right. Rome, how are you spending your night? Your conjured husk has been destroyed and did facilitate your shenanigans in Moira's lab. You have some knowledge now of what she may keep in there. What are you doing overnight?
So I just have a quick question. Does Telperion have to establish a mental connection with me, or can I attempt to establish that mental connection to communicate?
You are welcome to try to establish a connection. However, typically when you've been able to do so, it has always required sight.
Oh, sight. Okay. Well, I'm gonna make the attempt anyway.
Okay.
Since we've made a connection before.
Telperion, roll a perception check with disadvantage.
Oh, we're doing what we can. A nat 20 and a 12. 12 plus 4 is 16.
Your meditations and contemplations on your deal continue peacefully.
I wonder if Rome wants me to come.
You send out thoughts urgently and intensely toward Telperion, and he does not seem to make contact back if he's hearing your thoughts.
Okay. Well, Rome is quite disturbed, so she's gonna attempt to, like, in her long rest, meditate on a few spell changes to prepare to hopefully defend Jiri from any further experimentation.
Okay.
And then also, just for my own knowledge, there's no way for me to, like, that door that's covering my cell doesn't have any cracks in it. It's like impenetrable, correct?
It seems fairly impenetrable. There are very few cracks. That does not necessarily mean it can't be broken down or chiseled away to facilitate some sort of escape, but that will require some serious effort. So you let me know if you want to put in intense effort over the course of 8 hours. You probably would not get a long rest if you put sufficient effort to trying that endeavor.
Yeah, I'm not going to, but just out of curiosity, what is the door made out of?
Pure stone. All of the stonework in here seems to be sort of cobbled masonry, so not like brick masonry rectangular units, but almost, if you think sort of old Ireland, the way sort of stones are just like stacked and organized with mortar in between them in a sort of abstract and patternless construction. That's sort of what you're looking at here. But the stone slab door seems to be one slab of pure stone that has been fit in a groove that allows it to slide back and forth.
Okay. All right. Do I know which cell Jiri is in? Was I able to collect that?
Yeah, I think you, based on just general knowledge and in and out of this area led by Moira, you probably saw Jiri, probably Tobirama, help assist Jiri into his own room, and Moira allow that to happen as she was escorting the rest of you to your room. So yeah, you know he's in the furthest cell from you right now.
Okay. Rome's gonna just like prepare herself for the next time that the door opens. And it's like the Reaver and they're sending food.
Okay.
And that's it.
As all of you engage your long rest, Tobirama, you hear a voice in your mind. Tobirama, listen closely.
Wait, don't go with that.
In Athenian with the Erinil, Princess and Queen Alaya. We need you out of there. Are you in the position to speak?
I'll look at Jiri, see if he's about the same as he has been all day. Walk up to the door, give a quick listen, and try and hear if I hear any like steps shuffling through the hallway.
Go ahead and make a perception check. I would say with disadvantage.
Okay.
Through the stone, I do think that's
Hey, Crit.
yes.
Before this goes any further, can you please remind us? I think you probably did your homework because you said you were going to last night. Our deal with her. Before we start making jailbreaks, this would be fresh in our characters' minds, and we'd probably remember our language. What is the deal? We said we'd stay a week. We may consider letting Jiri stay longer. I don't remember
I did do my homework, and to clarify, it's mostly relying on language that Roulette had engaged Moira with. That we would come voluntarily for a time. Something like originally 2 weeks was suggested by Roulette, but then scaled back to Moira for other reasons. But voluntary assistance for 1 week, and she would allow at least one of your party to remain within 30 feet of Jiri at all times. She would be able to study Jiri and the Dread Iron Fluid, the Hex Metal, at will. She promised mitigated harm while your assistance was given voluntarily.
Okay.
Although those tenets of the pact were struck and clarified, it was left somewhat vague on what type of repercussions would occur should the voluntary tenet be abused or disregarded. Tobirama, with a 12, you listen and you don't hear any sound in the hallway right now.
I will mentally finish the sending and reply. I should be able to talk for a few minutes. And that's where I'll leave it.
You hear another voice come into your mind from Minerva. All right. The Aranil looked into your claim. It does not appear that negotiations between Belladonia and Durast are complete, though that may change within a week or month's time. You hear her voice trail off, almost allowing you to respond if you want, but you can tell there's more she intends to follow up with.
Message boy.
I'll just stay quiet.
Our forces reinforce Atheros, and we are investigating the prisoners' whereabouts. Prisoners, plural, apostrophe, regarding your forces. We can facilitate, perhaps, one of your immediate escapes. It will be up to you to free the others. Without even a moment for that message to give a pause, Mirage's voice follows back up. What we have in mind is a potion that I can send you, facilitating your breakout, or one of your allies. If given, can you break out the others and meet us on the coast west of you?
I will need time to think this over and try and get a chance to check with the others. I will be able to send a message in the morning to follow up.
Minerva follows with a final message. It says, from the Aranil and Alaya. Think quickly. Even though our position is precarious, we've decided we must march on Ostenis at once to force Belladonia's hand. The voice retreats from your mind, and you have the night to ponder. Unless there are any tangible mechanical things you guys want to address, RP or spell refresh and stuff. Roulette, you got something on your mind?
How many, the book that she gave me, imagine like a marble notebook from junior high.
Yes, something like that, yeah.
How full is this notebook as far as like pages taken up of text?
It's a thin notebook.
Okay.
And the nature, it's probably 20 pages or so thick, and only 12, 13, 14 of them are filled with what you had read. So there are a couple available pages, but based on the writings of the individual who authored it, it very quickly strikes you as these are personal journeyings and thoughts, and although there's some valuable, like, tangible work here, the real sort of more formalized work would have been housed in probably other documents, other databases or something. This is end of the day considerations type notepad. little less formal, but still contains functional information. But
Upon waking up, I am going to focus on what I would normally do if my Steel Defender was gone and I wanted to recreate a Steel Defender. And I'm going to lay out that notebook and my pencil. And I am going to cast Tiny Servant twice. Once on her notebook and once on the pencil. And if you were, it's verbal and somatic only. And I just need a tiny non-magical object. And if you were in the room, what you would see is this notebook and this pencil essentially spring to life as if they were little Disney characters. They have little arms, little legs, and I mentally control them within 180 feet of me.
Okay, very good.
And my immediate mental command will be hide or disguise yourselves.
Look animate.
Look inanimate. And then I will use my spell restoring ring to get back one of those spell slots.
Okay.
I am going to get 2 second level spell slots back. And
over the course of the long rest, you're using some harness divine power.
even just a short rest can facilitate that in the time we've been here doing stuff. And I'm gonna cast locate object, trying to find seeing if I can detect Rome's vase within 1,000 feet of me. I think we had some assumptions that it might be in Duras, but I'll still give it a shot.
Any components required for that spell? I guess you do still have your medallion on you, so you have the material.
Nope, verbal somatic, and then just a twig, but
okay, medallion works for there. You describe the object that's familiar to you. Yada yada yada.
Thickness, a sheet of lead is the only thing that would block the knowledge if it blocked a direct path.
You reach out to try and locate this item, and you do not detect anything in this vicinity within 1,000 feet.
Okay.
And pretty quickly, that would indicate to you it's probably not here at Lux Monastery. For if something of value was here, it would likely be stored here in Moira's lab.
Right. That is all for me.
Can I get in a Jiri dialogue real quick?
Absolutely.
So Jiri, Toby, you hear the voice switch to Jax this time, and he says, and this is Jiri like kind of curled up. He's like huddled in the wall. He's lying down. He's just speaking to himself. It was I who freed us. I found the liquid metal. I bonded with it. This process was destructive, yes. Our mind was fractured. At that moment, the walls were destroyed, and for the first time, we became aware of one another. And ever since wars waged between us, this new power, the metal, rebuilt the walls and chose the youngest, weakest memory form to preserve. A mistake, but it matters not. We no longer need that power.
Critter, you're muted somehow.
More for Toby Rama to consider.
Yeah, that might have interrupted me in my thought process, and then I listened in on that. The walls broke down, and then the metal helped reform them. So I think this Jax dude might have been doing this for a while, of like collecting for personas. Maybe. Interesting.
Any last words before a long rest is completed?
Did Toby at any point actually hear the term Hyperivel? And that it was the Deva? I don't remember if I was in the room or not.
You had cool.
No,
I think
that's just me.
We haven't been able to compare notes.
I think in the original dialogue with Moira in the tent, she had mentioned Hyperivel when she witnessed the shadows of writhing Vantablack flames surround Jiri.
Okay. I'll just give this a shot. I'll do a divine intervention and attempt it and ask Kellenvor if he knows about this entity, Hyperivel.
Go ahead and roll your D100. 10 or less.
47.
So close.
Nothing comes to your mind this night.
Ugh.
And after sufficient time for you all to feel well rested, sleeping, or amusing yourself in various ways, morning probably comes. You're down here in a dank cellar, so you don't really see.
I'm
But
basically good.
since you've been here,
This is the second long rest, I believe.
yes, yeah. So you're entering your third day here. Telperion. In the morning, you hear the grinding of stone alert your presence, whether you are ready for it or not, and Moira appears in front of you. Well, young princeling, I have had a rather successful night, and I am very eager to engage your friends Rome and Tobirama to assist me with something I want to try with your friend Jiri. But before them, have you had time to ruminate on my offer?
I stand up and I start pacing, and I kind of like just try to have the most princely air possible. All right, Moira, here's the deal. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm not here to fuss, be inconvenient, but here's my take. If you offer me a boon, and you can start writing this on your arm, because I have an offer I would like to extend you. If you're interested, I am interested in a true boon. I do you this service of not telling Toby. I won't tell any of the Four Winds. But I would not be responsible if he found out some other way unrelated to my intervention. And this boon that you give to me is a boon in true. It is not something that you track, harm me through. It does not, if it's a trick and it doesn't work, I shouldn't blame you. But it does not impart harm on me, and you do not profit from it, ultimately.
She considers your words, cocks her head to the side. I am amenable to some of these terms. We can formalize the language in a minute. What do you seek?
Allow me to cast a small spell. Won't hurt you. Of course, you could counter it if you did. And I cast Blade Ward in front of her. Look at this. And I show her the scars from the Bident that have started healing. My job is to protect these ones here. Protect a lot of people. But I take harm, I'm hurt constantly. I need to be tougher, more durable. This spell is handy. It's too slow to cast, though. I've recently studied arcane pursuits more, and I need to be able to cast them while I'm swinging my sword in combat for it to be more effective. Could you teach me how to cast these spells quicker and weave it in with my sword work?
Perhaps. Though I suspect the idea I have in mind is just so different than what you have in mind, but will achieve what I imagine you're going for. Hold out your hand for me, and like you, I will simply show you something with minor magics. I will not affect your form yet. You hold out your hand, and she gently orients it so that she can wave her hands over the back of your hand. I have been up all night studying the power of certain runes and biological markings that look like them. So this is fresh in my memory. And she will wave her hands, and you can feel energy flow from her staff through her chest and down her arm as she does so. And she conjures minor illusion. And just an inch or so above your wrist, an infernal glyph appears. You do not speak or understand infernal, do you?
No.
In my personal opinion, Elvish is the closest the humanoids of this world have come to succinctly bearing down runic patterns in a way that is refined. Infernal is a cut above, but in a similar way to some runes your people might be familiar with, this is a glyph of swiftness. If I imbue it on you, it will affect not your magical arts, but rather your ability to swash your sword through the air. I have seen you all at work a little bit. Not through Coda's eyes, that was only Jiri. But in my scrying, I saw you training, instructing others in your forms. Your technique is unique, but still unwieldy. The great sword you carry is too hefty. This glyph could enable your strikes to be quicker, and therefore facilitate the time you need to more quickly weave your minor magics into your flow of combat. If I'm to understand correctly, it is similar in what you ask of me, but I cannot quicken your ability to channel arcane magics. I can quicken your form slightly to accommodate the time necessary for those magics. One consequence of this, and it is slight, but the strength of your hits would be very minorly reduced. But you would gain the flexibility to weave your magics in between your strikes. Should I imbue this mark upon you?
It would be my choice when to weaken them for swiftness. Or is this all the time? I would have weaker strikes.
As so long as the brand would occupy your skin, your sword strikes would be quicker, and therefore minorly reduced in their impact. However, so that would be at all times. But you would have the freedom to use your own magics as you see fit, without any of my interference.
This is a good offer. Might I think about it for an hour before permanently changing something on myself?
I suppose so. Based on your language earlier, two of the statements you said next to each other sort of conflicted slightly. You suggested you would not tell your friends any of the Four Winds, as you put it, but then you followed it up by saying, as long as the information did not stem from you, that you did not facilitate the information. The latter portion of that is what I'm interested in. I can't have you tell some neutral third-party ally that you make and have them avail Tobirama of the knowledge. My stipulation would be that for as long as the brand finds itself on your skin, you will bear the sigil and wield its power, but if your word falters, if Toby Rama finds this information from you as a source in any way. For as many days as the brand has granted its boon, so too will it extract a measured deal equal and opposite.
As in, it would weaken me after.
Slow your strikes, so to speak.
All right, so to refine it, I shall not speak this to a Forwin. If I spoke it to a third party, and that third party told Toby, this would counteract and I would suffer all the harm. I wish to tell you, it is not my intention to tell, and you can read my mind here, it's not my intention to tell someone else so they can tell Toby. I will not tell anyone with the intention that he get that information from them. But I know this information. I wish to think about it, wish to talk it over with one or two people who would not tell Toby on their life. Nor Forwind.
You have given me something to think about now. Let me ponder as you do. In 1 hour's time, we will meet again. Very well.
Toby's ears ringing.
Feels like someone's talking about me. Immediately upon waking up, I got ascending or to descend.
We also have 1 minute.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump zooms while...
And before MK goes, could I know mechanically what she's talking about so Mike Jacoby can consider?
Not extremely heightened mechanics until the deal is struck, but as clear as I'm willing to be is you will functionally gain access to the feature of the Blade Singing Wizard 6th level class where you can cast a cantrip in place of one of your normal attacks. However, the damage of your strikes, any of your strikes with a weapon, will be reduced somewhat. She claimed and emphasized minorly.
Okay.
That portion cannot be clarified at this time.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, I see what she means. Got it.
All right, Toby, you got some sendings you want to send.
Yeah.
As Moira, as Rome, your door shifts next. Not a Reaver and Infernal Sphere appearing to deliver food, but rather you see in front of you Moira. And as you consider that for a moment, we'll let Toby send his messages.
So, I'll start with Roulette. Mirage and friends poised to help us escape sooner rather than later. Prepare accordingly. That's the end of the message.
Any response Roulette wants to give back?
Only if they save the troops first. Otherwise, 4 more days. That's all I'll say back.
Okay. Then I will send one to oh, dude, I can't wait till I can restore 3rd level spell slots with my channel divinity. I will send another to Telperion. And I will say, the same thing.
Can't leave with Jiri like this. I need Illisen's journal, which should be here. Can you track it? Location perfect for escape. Consequences early departure. Thank you for counting.
Okay. And I will follow that up right away with a locate object on Illisen's journal.
The elf who made the monastery, whose father was an Alea lord.
What may have been overlooked, even in a thorough search, is a mundane, simple notebook. Rome has not seen it before, so it did not catch her attention when she searched this particular table. But just down the hall is the leather-bound pages of Illisen's journal that you have seen before in your visit in Lux Monastery.
I probably can't see pings if you're pinging it just because of the shadows.
I have not pinged it, but if you guys get into the lab, I will ping it.
Okay.
You know the drawer of the desk it is in.
Okay.
That's huge.
Did I? Okay. And now that's done. I will send a message to Mirage. And let's circle back to this. I need to think about what
think
I want to say.
think about your message to Mirage. Yeah, Jiri, what are you?
I get a Jiri dialogue in before we move on from Toby, since
then we'll
in the
pick
room
back
together.
up with Moira entering Rome's room. But yeah, go ahead.
And I guess this is taking place over a long period of time, so like Jiri's kind of silent in between each of these pieces of this conversation, but you hear Meko's voice this time, kind of like higher pitched. And they all seem to be in response to one another. So this is like right after the last one where Jack was speaking. In response to Jack, Meko says, Jiri is what we needed. Someone to free us from fear. Someone whose mind could escape the horrors of that prison. Rushed and imperfect, but happy. Your time was up, Jax. It was time for a new memory form. It was your turn to fade back into the darkness. Just as Squall did before you and I did before him.
Fascinating.
That's a juice one.
Dude, that's crazy. Memory form is crazy. Okay.
Rome. You see the stone slab doorway slide into its recess in the wall, and standing in front of you is Moira.
Moira.
Who gently steps forward, still cradling her dread iron staff in her arm. How have your accommodations been?
Well, I mean, it would be nice to have some sunlight in here.
Perhaps I can arrange that later today. For now, I'm hoping to get your assistance. I mentioned both to you and Toby Rama last night that I believe you and he have power levels sufficient to journey with me into Jiri's mind and assess the new situation. Will you come with me?
What happens if I don't?
Functionally, I'm offering you a seat at the table to get better insight into your friend. If you'd prefer your cell, you are welcome to it.
I will come with you, but only as with the intention of protecting Jiri from whatever inhumane experiments you plan on performing on him.
Very well. Come. She heads out of her room and allows you to follow.
Which direction does she go in?
She goes in the direction toward, Jiri and Toby's room.
Okay. I follow her.
She slows outside the door before you get to Toby and Jiri and says, "One stop along the way." And she waves her dread iron staff over the door, and it just automatically shifts out of the way. And Roulette, you see Moira with Rome behind her enter your room. What did you think of your little reading overnight?
Sounds like either your team or whoever's team this is made some pretty ingenious advances. Not perfect, but usable in the wrong hands, I'll say. Pretty interesting.
Interesting is an understatement. Those types of magic through physical means have been impossible to facilitate before this project was started. Magical means have always been able to transmutate the body, but this offers something else, something more commonly available. I'm glad it intrigued you. I was studying all night, and through any notes I have here from Daenor, you might have noticed that your marking is not categorized anywhere in those pages. I looked into your blood, and it has strange properties that demand my further attention. I also thought I might avail you of one additional piece of knowledge, but I will request something in return. Are you open to an exchange of sorts?
As soon as she mentions that she was looking at my blood, I'll gather my things, which are 2 notebooks and a pencil. You still got the blood under the viewing receptacle? Because microscopes don't exist.
It is not. It has been packed up. I actually need to gather some things today in Daenor throughout the period of most of today. I will return this night for further study. Perhaps then we can discuss further. I have quite a few things I want to try tonight. I think I can upgrade Experiment 3H to the Dread Iron X4 series, and then I have ideas for Jiri's mind entirely that might supply a better fit. But I need to gather my things. I need to bring more specialized equipment here from Daenor first, so I will be gone for a good period of the day. Until then, I would like to ask for that journal back. But, and she reaches into her vestments and pulls out a single scroll, not like a long scroll, but just like a piece of paper rolled up with a thin string around it. I wrote down an additional formula. It is of my own creation, not something contained within those pages. My own creativity applied from what I've learned from the project. If you make use of its contents, what I request in return is to see the events unfold as they will. If you're not comfortable with that, then don't make use of the knowledge you'll gain. Fairly straightforward. Is that something you're interested in?
One hand already has the book out, and the other one has just an empty hand to the scroll.
I am so appreciative of you, Roulette. I was impressed from the moment you began negotiating with me under the tent. You see past the emotional charges of disgruntlement or frustration. You see knowledge for what it is, a tool that you get to direct its use. I like you. Perhaps we are cut from the same cloth in a way. Thank you for the journal. And do make use of this if you choose to. I'm eager to see how it unfolds. It offers you the thin scroll.
I will take the scroll and I will give her half a smile and I will say,
as you receive the scroll and take it from her hands, you just feel your brand glow very subtly.
Interesting.
With a very minor contract having just been struck. Should you make use of the knowledge here within, she will be able to see whatever that means, how it was used.
Interesting. She specifically said, I would like to see the results of that. I will take it and I will say, knowledge is weightless. And I'll give her a wink. And I will take the scroll.
Or is it the heavy bit?
I will stay standing as if I'm trying to presume myself to follow them out of the cell towards the lab.
Oh, darling, your services will not be needed at this time, but do give that a look. I think you'll find it intriguing. Perhaps even tempting.
Will do.
Very well. And she will retreat from your cell. Rome, you were visible. You were able to hear that whole exchange and watch that unfold. And as Moira steps back out into the hallway, the stone slab will close behind Roulette's door. Sorry for the delay. Let us go see to your friends.
And I'm hoping in the time that's elapsed.
Yeah, you can fire off your message to Mirage.
So I'll cast it. There goes the 3rd levels for the day. And I'll say, escaping prematurely may inflict adversity. Us, prisoners, or both. I can accept your item ASAP. Urgent to include 25 gold incense and 50 gold gem. I think that's right on the money for 25. I don't know if he'll be able to do that, but I needed to ask.
Oh, but
Very well. You hear back from Mirage. Let me put some things together and converse with the princess. Based on our communication with General Mathros, he feels the forces will be safe as long as they do not rebel. That's all you get. Moira and Rome appear. You hear the grinding. Yeah, Jiri, you got something before they get there? Another.
I was just saying, we do got time for another jury.
Yeah,
Jiri.
absolutely.
This time it's Jax's voice once again, Toby. Delusional and pathetic. Look where Jiri's decisions have led us. Ruin and despair. His powers are gone. Yet I alone still remember how to kill. And in this world, that is what true power is. Who can kill who? Only I can save us now. Only I have the capabilities of negotiating a deal with this witch for our freedom.
And as you hear him mutter that to himself, Toby, you hear the stone slab grind and open as you see Moira and Rome. And Moira gestures for you to make room so that she might enter.
Yeah.
Come, I have brought company. And allows Rome to enter as well.
I rush to Jiri's side.
And you hear Meko's voice. I don't know if you've heard Meko's voice before. You might be the only one that hasn't. But you hear a amphibian-like voice who says, "But what about our friends? They can save us."
Roma's just like kind of confused as to.
You can kind of get a sense that he's not like looking at you or talking to you specifically.
Moira also looks puzzled and says, I don't believe I've heard him use that voice before.
His different identities have been conversing, it seems. Little bits are coming out periodically.
Identities is the interesting word there. I suspected something like this may be at play, and now I am even more eager to take a peek behind his curtain. I'm hoping you both might be able to join me in this. I think your availability of magic should be sufficient. Would you hold out each of your hands?
Can I get a brief check of how sinister is she seeming right now? Is she just in experimental mode, or is she in like, all right, it's time for me to enact a weird thing on them?
Vibe check.
Go ahead and make an insight check.
Critter, super aside. Just gut check. Tiny servant says I can mentally command it.
And it's in her pocket right now, so she has it. But yeah, you can mentally command it. Does it specify distance, line of sight, stuff like that?
So it says as long as it's 120 feet within me, I don't need to see it.
Okay.
But my question is like, I don't like it doesn't speak any languages. Can it relay any information back to me?
Ooh, I doubt it.
I
doubt it. I'm gonna guess that this is a Mickey Mouse conjuring, making the broom sweep for him stuff. So although he can command it and cause it to do what he wants, doesn't have a level of intelligence to think back at.
Its int is 2, so yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, but you do have command over it when you want. With a 17, Tobirama, it's very difficult to. She doesn't hide her emotions, but she is sort of hard to read, especially in this moment when she's very clearly she's eager to arcanely investigate something she's passionate about, interested in. You don't know if that's harmless investigation or this could change everything forever investigation. Right. You don't know that info. She reaches, as she asks that question, she reaches into one of her pockets she has within her small cloak that hangs at her side, and she holds out 2 silver bags of what appears to be some sort of powder. And should both of you willingly accept them, she will place them in one in Rome's hand and one in Tobirama's hand. Mm-hmm. Contained within here is dream crystal powder. Extremely rare to create or acquire. It requires extensive and exaggerated force to be channeled through it, such as sand on a beach being struck with lightning, the equivalent of something like that, while magic is imbued within it. It is a valuable resource, and I'm willing to allow its expenditure here because I'm hoping both of you might avail me of insights into your friend that I can't deduce myself. Functionally, when I enter his mind in a moment, this powder will draw from you equivalent magic to facilitate as if you were casting the same spell as me.
That's cool.
And it will allow us 3 to enter our friend Jiri's mind simultaneously. In this venture, I merely seek to assess. I do not seek to poke around, prod, affect dramatic change at this time. I need to understand something that's going on. I spent my entire night developing a potential game plan for our friend here. I've extracted samples of blood from him and the entity designated as X3H, the Dread Iron X3 series designated for Hyperivel. And my use for Jiri is almost complete. As per our arranged agreement in the tent, since the Supreme Leader did not require that I kill you or make other arrangements for your captivity, I might consider releasing you all early for good behavior. But I need to peek into our friend's broken mind for some final insight, and I would like you two to accompany me. Will that be acceptable?
I would like to figure out whether or not she's being truthful, because I don't trust
Yeah.
her.
Go ahead and make an insight check. Your insight at least relays that, oh, she did mention that in the tent. She did mention that if she's able to extract the entity from Jiri and study his blood, she won't need him anymore. And although that kind of inherently has a sort of dark implication, it could be very truthful that she's willing to let you guys go early. All the conditions have been met. She was able to study him, she extracted what she wanted from him, and facilitated a meeting with the king that she did mention in the tent. If he allowed your release or didn't care about your captivity, she would let you go early as long as she got what she was searching for. So based on your insight check, it doesn't give you insight into her motivations, her truthfulness, but she's at least referencing stuff that she did say before.
And what exactly are you trying to figure out exactly? You said you were trying to discover something.
What I suspect is happening within Jiri's mind has to do with a long history of difficult horrors the changeling species has had to endure on this plane. It is a shame that they ventured, much like the elves themselves, that they ventured from their origins in the Feywild into a plane such as this prime material one that left them scarred, tortured, abused, slain over centuries and millennia. Changelings are rare for a reason. As you can see with my own interest in him, changelings have been often sought out. They are excellent spies. They can infiltrate the greatest of kingdoms and work various ambitions from within. They can change their appearance at whim as a biological trait, not inherently a magical one. It is a very fascinating case for study, and changelings functionally are impossible to find. Not many of them retain their natural forms. They take on other identities and commit so wholeheartedly to those roles that they are in jeopardy of losing themselves occasionally. I think this may have happened to Jiri, and I wish to see the repercussions of what his new mind state looks like with Hyperivel's removal. We'll facilitate data gathering that I've never had before. So come with me. You will witness what I witness and be able to, as you put it, Rome, defend Jiri against any of my untoward experimentation.
Toby, what do you think?
I think she has different intents and goals in mind towards our friend, but I also know we can't help him if we don't know what's going on. So, I think this aligns with what we want in order to help him.
Okay.
Can I get in a Jiri line?
Absolutely.
It's back to Jax.
I'm trying to make a coffee. Can you put it in the chat when you're done with it so I can read it when I get back?
Yes. Ha! You still don't see, do you? Jiri's friends offered up as bait to learn more about this witch and her plans. We were expendable, a tool to sacrifice when needed. Jiri was a clown, a fool that his friends laughed at. Without his powers, he's nothing to them. He's not a hero. He's not a prince. He's not even a Genasi. A memory form built upon a story. Nothing about him is real. It's all been a lie.
If this is true, Jiri, Jax, she just smiles. Well, are we ready? Please pour the crystal powder into your hands. Allow me to grasp the other. She will firmly plant her staff on the ground and let go of it, and it just remains in that position. And she reaches out both of her hands, one to Rome, one to Tobirama, and she begins to chant. And both of you lose or have expended a 5th level spell slot.
Yeah.
As the three of you are pulled into Jiri's mind state. And that's where I think I'd like to take a bio break. And Jiri, the first thing I want from you / Tim is, what are we walking into? This is an opportunity for you to paint a picture for us of what is Jiri's current mind state? Who is there visible in the scene? What does the environment look like now that Hyperivel and his neural storm and dread iron fluid have been removed from
I'm just imagining the audio kicks in and it's
Jesus.
So something to think about as we hit a bio break real quick. See you guys in a couple minutes.
Yee.
He's a fucking changeling and gets lost
kill
in
it,
these
'cause then we'll just start
fucking
a new one.
identities.
Well, no.
That's
wait,
so
wait.
fucking cool.
Like, you know he's going to.
Oh, jeez, he's a changeling.
Mikey's barking. What do you mean too hard?
Wumbercules is playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Umbercules. Umbercules.
Kennedy's are.
A single drop of magic can create a tidal wave of change.
Holy shit. That was wild.
I got bars.
If anyone needs any Daniel Levy content in the absence of Schitt's Creek, Mary and I just watched a good movie with him called Good Grief the other night.
Ooh. Neat.
like
I'm
that
gonna
guy.
write it off. What do you mean write it off? No, it's a write off.
Off. Fireball.
How far are you currently, Steve?
I have just entered the lower city of Baldur's Gate.
You guys are all farther than me in this game now. I really slowed down.
We've got a changeling.
Huh?
We've got a changeling as Tim
Oh,
enters
little-
the chat.
Little changeler.
Rumoredly.
What? I didn't write that down. This now.
Tim, have you had any time for Baldur's Gate?
What was that?
Have you had any time for BG3?
Oh, I just haven't been playing. I've had time. I just haven't been playing it.
What are you doing instead?
Oh, dude, I've been playing Pal World lately.
How was it?
Oh my god.
Dude, and it's actually really good.
You can catch the other humans.
I haven't tried that yet, but
You can catch.
I bet I have been giving my Pokemon guns, so.
Yes.
Love it. Yeah, what a fucking game. What a time to be alive.
Right.
What's it on?
Steam.
Anything? PC.
Steam and Xbox, I think.
I'm kind of curious about it.
Pretty good. It's like the Pokemon game it's most like is like Legends Arceus. If you play that one.
It looks like Arceus from the
You can
game.
put you can give your Pokemon guns.
Yes.
But it's like a lot of like the crafting survival mechanics.
Yeah,
Like roster
Arc.
art. Yeah. It's pretty fun. I like it.
It just broke
That's
top
cool.
5 most concurrent players on Steam's charts. It at
Yeah,
one point
and it-
had 1.29 million people playing at the same time.
Jesus.
That's insane.
It runs really well too, which is nice for like when a game just first comes out. Like I haven't had a like performance issue at all, so
That's awesome.
What was Baldur's Gate 3's concurrent thing? Because I know it was being...
845 was its highest, 845,000. Oh no, 800...
Yeah, so Power World already has
75.
healthily
Yeah.
beat its concurrent player base. That's wild. That's wild.
It's got the highest 24-hour peak. Oh, I think that's just recent.
I think it's
Within the
only-
last 24 hours.
It
And
looks
then
like an
currently
egg,
it's got
maybe?
940,000
Just a
people playing.
simple, can I offer you an egg in these trying times?
Just pounding eggs lately.
Did you get the thing off? Was it hard?
Oh, I switched to
Boiled.
one that wouldn't
Was it
crack.
hard? Was it boiled?
And it was kind of a difficult one. Break.
I'm so good now with the single hand egg crack on a flat surface and then open up. I'm so good
Oh,
at it now.
for sure. Important life skill. We're still getting down opening up hard boiled eggs though.
not
Yeah,
playing.
that doesn't
I
sound
feel like
fun.
it just was.
Yeah, but it's not anymore.
Bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum. Okay, everyone ready to dive into Jiri? Maybe once MJ returns, we can pick back up.
Have to.
Sorry if there's any Spotify musical issues. If
No,
let me
that's
know if there's
computer
anything I
issue.
can do.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean you're eating.
Yeah.
No.
What'd you say, Alex?
we have a speaker issue that we're sorting out real quick.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for some reason, it's no longer playing through my speaker and playing through the computer, but the music is playing through the speaker.
Interesting.
Really weird. Well, I mean, Zoom did also just like do an update while I
On your
was
computer?
yeah, while I was trying to get in. It was like updating, and now it's like
Weird.
let me try leaving really quick. Hold on.
So you have to have 5th level spell slots to get into this party.
This current party that's actively available.
Roulette will get there. Telperion, not so much.
But Telperion has other ways of peeking into someone's mind.
I know. I was surprised she did. I was thinking about that. He couldn't have asked to join the party because he didn't know there was an invite.
Also, before we consider diving into Jiri's mind, Roulette, have you opened that little note and read the contents of it?
Yes, I definitely would have opened and read it probably the second she left, pencil in hand, to transcribe to my journal.
It is
Apparently
another.
that can be
It
muted.
is another recipe.
It's not. I was playing music.
And a lot of recipes here.
called the Catalyst formula.
Catalyst.
So Feral 5, you don't necessarily know all the, you know the formula of it. You don't necessarily know what commentary might be available on it regarding her infernal annotation. But you functionally, I can clarify to you soon the formula of Feral 5. This is a different formula and a little simpler, but it functionally operates like an uncommon potion. And I can also, it probably won't come up this session, but I will clarify to you after this session what it does. But it is knowledge you have now. You now know the Feral 5 virus recipe and the Catalyst formula recipe.
Perfect. And I will write it down by mentally commanding my pencil to write it for me.
Perfect. Okay. Let's do this. Tobirama and Rome, as you're both pulled and your vision fades and you're pulled with Moira through what feels like space and time as colors and darkness whirl past your vision. Jiri, what does the environment of your mind state look like?
I feel like the best way to describe it is like in comparison to the last time Toby was there, versus I think this is the first time Rome's seen anything. So this is all new for you. But for Toby, last time there was this like huge elaborate structure, this three-dimensional structure. It looked like it was made out of glass, this like neural network of connecting parts, different sections with different colors and like these dead parts in between, sectioning off different areas. And those dead parts that were once there are completely gone, and it looks like, I mean, last time you were there, parts of it were falling down, but now the whole entire thing looks like it's sagging. And as you're watching it, like parts of it falling actively, new parts are trying to like grow. And you see different sections of this neural network, like each growing upwards, trying to like outcompete the other, racing towards the top of this area that you're in. And as different pieces fall to the ground, that like whirlpool that was once there is now completely kind of taking up the entirety of the bottom of this section. Like it almost looks like it's a black hole, and as these like pieces are pulled down into it, they just seem to vanish. You can tell now because it's not like this area used to look so vast and so dark that you couldn't see other sides to it, but it's now kind of condensed in, and you can see this is all contained within like a glass spherical shape, or at least I guess spherical is not the correct word. It is round, but it also extends upwards. Cylindrical, there you go, thank you. Structure. And outside of these walls, the glass itself, there's like ice forming on it, like frost on it. Like there is a feeling of like cold when you're in here as well that you've never experienced before.
I will also incorporate one piece of environmental detail that where frost seems to sort of gather at the edges of the edges, almost the way the frost has crystallized and spread almost gives the appearance of where the neural lightning flashes may have once been. And there is no active storm going on right now, but it is frigid in here. And definitely a different environment than Toby has previously experienced.
Yeah, and you see this like active growth right now, but also decay at the same time.
The three of you, Toby, Rama, Rome, and now Moira, are just sort of hovering in space. And she says, "Fascinating. Let's get a closer look." And she sort of drifts forward. Do you both follow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Following her side, the three of you drift closer to this structure. Jiri / Tim, are there people visible in this environment or not?
Actively, not currently. You might need to explore like into each specific section if you were to look or try to find someone. But no apparent from far away. You cannot observe anyone. But I will give Toby Raba a little piece of extra information. There seems to be like one section of the neural network that is, if this is like a competition, clearly losing. And most of its sections are being pulled down, and you can see it's lagging behind the others in terms of growth. And you recall back to the last time you were here, there was this one series, because you kind of went in progression through these memories, and there was this one section of series of memories of this street urchin on the streets of Daenor. Kind of a very tragic life of this individual named Squall. And you can see most of this section is almost completely gone. And you do kind of think back and recall that you never heard that voice in this conversation that was occurring between Jax and Meko and this third individual.
The third individual being Squall, or third one not being Squall?
Third one not being Squall.
Oh.
I think I'd heard Squall before.
You've seen the memories of Squall. You've been in those memories, and that was, if you recall, it was directly after these memories of Meko.
Yeah, Meko,
directly
Squall,
before
Jax.
Memories of Jax, yes.
And then Jiri was crafted in the aftermath of Hyperabel, likely, is what I'm putting together at least.
Moira, in this environment, fascinated, looking all around, says, "There, that piece, it's crumbling. It will fall soon. Let us evaluate it." And she rushes toward that. And I would like to offer both of you a perception check, and she will do the same to see what you all see at a closer look to a piece of crumbling structure. All 20s or above, which I would say is a very good evaluation. Jiri, if they have been able to find a crumbling piece of this structure, this network, what do they see?
This section is a section that's very closely linked to the Meko section of memories as it's being dragged in. It's actually the point where the two are connected. They're all kind of connected in this very thin, very small component. And it's this one section that starts to drag down the Meko section along with it. And you get a glimpse of this memory that Toby has seen before, of Meko being part of the Blue Feathers, this tribe, this troop of actors and singers and performers, and there's this memory of this troop of Blue Feathers being attacked by a group of Red Plumes, street thugs from Daenor, specifically one of Jax. And maybe another version of Jax, or maybe the real Jax, actually killing what Meko claimed to be was his father. And then this sudden shift to a new memory form of Squall, and fleeing onto the streets of Daenor. So that's
follow it closely.
Memory.
Moira immediately points to this transition. Follow it closely. Toby Rama, you've been here before, have you not? What do you think is happening right here?
It seems like moments of great stress force him to change identities?
Not force. Remember his nature. He is a changeling.
It's a defense mechanism against great stress?
Perhaps it can be used as a defense mechanism, and perhaps the commitment to the role, certainly, to quash certain memories in favor of others, to drown out pains and traumas in favor of new mindsets, but it can be intentional too. Look here. This point, it transitions from this red creature, this amphibious frog being, into another one. And you can see Jax in the distance. He's stalking him, studying him. Let us follow this further.
Real Jax?
And Moira will try to guide both Rome and Tobirama along the squall portion of the structure to follow it to its natural conclusion or transition. Jiri, is she able to do so? Is there enough cohesive information here to be able to follow this through to Jax?
Very loosely. As I said, this is the one that's the most damaged. So
Right.
many sections have already been pulled in, but you can kind of jump along this kind of, hopping from year to year, month to month of this life on the streets of Daenor. Really, not too much happening, right? Like just day-to-day activities of this young being, basically just struggling to survive on a daily basis. But there's this overwhelming kind of sense, as you go through these memories, of a driving force of like revenge, of hatred towards this individual known as Jax, a hunting of this individual as well, like a commitment to finding this individual. And as you go through each of these like moments in this character's life, or at least what remains of this memory form of Squall, eventually it does lead to a moment where there is a confrontation on the streets in a back alley of Daenor, where Squall does kill Jax.
Oh my god.
See there. It's painted for us clear as day, as if we were there ourselves. Jiri, or our changeling friend, occupying a current form of Squall, for whatever reason, sought out Jax and slayed him. And a new transition. And suddenly Jax is walking the streets again. Think, how can that be?
It's imitating.
There is no Jax. It is our changeling friend, our Jiri, has now impersonated Jax after studying him from what I can tell must be weeks or even months. I'm not quite able to discern the timeline, but after much study, he has copied his mannerisms, his colloquialisms, his form of speech, the way he walks, even, from what I can tell, his skill with a blade. And now look, as you follow Jax's portion of the structure, he is a member, full-fledged, of the Red Plumes beneath Daenor. And follow it further. And Jiri, Tim, once more, if they're able to follow this pathway, what do they see that leads to Jax's imprisonment in Talonreach Keep? What puts him on the radar of Moira and effectively gets him captured?
Oh, that is a memory that is no longer there. It is part that has been pulled down into the depths of darkness below. So there is this living day by day through the life of Jax, this street thug, and then there's a gap in this memory, and we lead to the prison where Jax sits across from him in a cell, is Aldark.
You can hear the familiar-ish voice of Aldark telling the tales of Jiri, Jarl of Jawland, and his epic adventures to amuse himself or Jax or both in moments of desperation for entertainment in a very despairing place. This portion before, it's too damaged. It has crumbled, whether to Jiri's lack of psychological resolve, or perhaps his own sabotage? I'm not sure. That is a question perhaps only Jiri could answer for us. Jiri could be self-sabotaging this environment, or Hyperival has inadvertently done so. However, Tobirama, you may be blinded by previous experience. I turn my questions now to you, Rome. These various personas, if you had to paint for us a big picture, what do you suppose is going on here?
I suppose that this is a reaction to the removal of the entity. But I wonder, given all of these memories and all of these personas that Jiri or whoever this changeling being is impersonated, who exactly is the changeling? Where do the changeling in its most original forms memories exist within this space?
Let us try and find out. We must go back, follow the structure to its origin point. Let us try and track it down. And as Moira then leads you guys back through various memories of this changeling's history, its occupation as Jiri, its occupation as Jax, its occupation as Squall, then Meko, what do they see before Meko?
So they go through Meko, and part of them, as they go back through this Meko section, you do see that Aldark is back as part of this tale, and Meko does receive this story of Jiri at a different point in this timeline. Maybe just something of note. But as they go farther and
you just cut out for a second.
Sorry. As you guys go farther and farther back, the memories seem to condense down. And it makes a new kind of structure, not necessarily this branching neural network. It seems more of a kernel of or just a more spherical in shape than this branching pattern. And you get back to a point where the memories are more so of ancestral memories of ways of living or rules or specific patterns, more so like instincts at the birth of this creature. How to avoid being captured, how to create new memory forms. But it seems as though this section of the memory is unwilling to divulge full truths to you all. It seems to be guarded very deeply inside this structure, and you're having a hard time glancing through the glass to see deeper into the memories.
So, although some information still eludes us, I think I have deduced what I believe to be the case here. These different identities are not different personas all trapped in, or different beings all trapped in a singular mind. They are memories. Our changeling friend has changed his form over time and time again, and as many changelings, I imagine, are wont to do, have to so fully commit to their role that they are not found out, that the world does not recognize and discover that they are changelings, for that could pose a threat to their culture, their way of life, their people. This Aldark, this Kingfisher Kenku, these individuals that accompanied Jiri in his time as the Blue Feathers, I cannot confirm it, but there could be one of two cases here. They could be, in truth, traveling, performing troop members of different species and races, or perhaps Mixed into this bunch is Jiri's original clan, his family, his people. What if this is an assortment of changelings taking on various forms that have traveled together, that stayed together in various forms so that they might survive but still stay together? I can't tell who is which. Although my discernment for people's true forms can be strong, looking through memories clouds it. I can't tell what is what, but I think it's very clear that these identities, these personas or memory forms, are the most important roles that Jiri has occupied in his time. The problem is, when Jax bound to Hyperivel's power, a being whose state of mind was already so heavily fractured that he was incoherent himself when we summoned him to this plane, it broke these memories apart, made them distinct from one another, barely able to communicate between them, no longer memory, all various memories accessible to the one core person, but rather seemingly like different beings entirely warring for control over this body. They're not different people, they are different memories fighting for their version of reality to puppet the changeling body. Jiri, for whatever reason, is perhaps Hyperivel's creation? No, that doesn't do justice to the changeling creativity, its adaptability and its blood cells. No, Jiri created Jiri, based on, sure, the stories he heard from Aldark. But Hyperivel facilitated the change and imbued him with great power. I wonder if these portions of the structure that are shifting and moving and pulling each other down and trying to overcome each other are the different beings continuing to fight for control, though they are more aware of one another than perhaps they may have been. They may realize now that they are various parts of the same whole, but that won't necessarily mean they don't all have equivalent survival instincts. What are your thoughts on the matter, both of you?
I wonder if this is a necessary change for Jiri. If we were to reintroduce Hyperivel, what would that be beneficial to him? Or can he move forward without it?
A grin sort of creeps across one side of her face, and she just nods, taking in what you said.
What did Hyperivel want Jiri for? Like, how did that benefit Hyperivel?
I do not claim to understand the mind, especially fractured as it is, of the divine.
I mean, it was trying to escape your capture. But
Yes,
saw
there
a
is
vessel for that.
There was opportunism at play. But why I think it chose Jiri and not to bind and reinforce a relationship with Jax was simply that it did not trust Jax. Nor did it place enough trust in the past memory forms to enable them its power. Part of me thinks, perhaps, that Hyperivel saw something in our changeling's mind in its responses to the stories it heard of Jiri. Perhaps the heroics, the grandeur, maybe some thematic story tales within the pages that it could tell our changeling friend identified with so strongly that it knew that would be a resolute form.
And do you know the nature of Hyperivel's divine origin?
Only what was described to me, which I shall not divulge at this time.
Fair enough, but I just imagine if it has a sort of idealistic tendency, even that could maybe make its way through its shattered psyche.
Perhaps.
This tale of Jiri most likely, most fully coincided with that.
That is true. I suppose the answer to your question will lie within Jiri's potential future. If there is some true sense of self here, buried in the fractured remains of this mess, maybe those core foundational personality traits will rule in the end. And perhaps similarly for Hyperivel, some far buried, drowned bits of his once intact personality may still be able to sway the discussion somewhat, even if he is now permanently different from what he was. But I have made my decision. I think Jiri's mind must be wiped clean so that he can start fresh. Then I will upgrade the Experiment 3H to the X4 series, which should improve his form and make his mind more obedient, more resolute, before attempting to merge them once more. A more durable form for Hyperivel, mixed with a fresher, cleaner slate mind, rid of any of those pesky memories and traumas, should surely facilitate a cleaner match. That might give me sufficient data for further study that I can make use of.
I don't think that we cannot just wipe his memories from this space. We don't know what the outcome of that would be. Be damaging the being itself.
That is the beauty of the arcane, dear Rome. We do not know the outcome, so we test and we test and we test until we understand every possible variation. Yes, this is what I will try. Indeed, I will need to gather some things from Daenor as I suspected, and this gives me further confirmation of when I return, we will establish a new Jiri. Thank you for venturing with me here today. You've been most helpful. And rapidly, you see the surrounding environment start to gray and shift and warp, and you both are pulled out of this memory and once more held here in the cell next to
This is where my note ends on that.
Fuck.
Jiri, any lines or anything as we're pulled
Sure.
out of the dream, either right before
Yeah.
we're leaving or as we arrive back here?
And this is the first time, Toby, you've heard Jiri's voice come back, and you hear him. He's just sobbing, and he says, "No, I didn't lie. I never lied. I didn't know. But if I'm not Jiri, then who am I? Or maybe I am still? Is this the trick? I'm so confused and so alone." And he's just sobbing into his hands.
Yeah, let's switch zooms here before we
Oh,
continue.
good call.
As Jiri mutters some additional lines, Tobirama, you're not acutely aware of how much time exactly passed while you're in that dream space. But a message hits your mind from Minerva. Mirage is prepared to send you the ingredients. Are you able to receive them, or should we send them to someone else?
And remind me, Moira's saying she needs to go get some things. And is she like getting ready to walk out of the room?
Yes, she is quickly, as you guys are appearing back here in the room, she is standing, looking down at Jiri with sort of a very satisfied expression, And she does look to Rome as you hear that message, and she says, "Come, back to your cell then. You are most helpful."
I will mentally send back. Hold for 3 minutes, and then I will be ready to receive.
Okay. Rome, Moira will lead you out of Jiri and Toby's cell and escort you back to your own cell. Wave her staff, allow your entrance, have the door shut behind you, and even before the door shuts behind you, you see her quickly stepping toward her lab in excitement, and the door shuts. Toby Rama, 3 minutes go by, but in the meantime, Telperion or Roulette, anything you guys will do, and actually Telperion will handle you in a second, as you will hear your stone door shift in a moment, but anything from either of you as you're amusing yourself in your cells? Okay. You hear your stone door shift, Telperion, and Moira is standing there. Very well. I have some other things on my mind now, so I am interested in hurrying this up. Have you given additional thought to what I proposed?
I have. And I want to clarify something before saying yes, because I think I want to say yes. So, if I break the deal, the brand goes away, and I suffer its repercussions, which was what again?
It will extract from you a toll, measured, equal and opposite, as the boon granted you power.
So, slowing my strikes for the number of days I benefited from their speed. And there's no other, I'm not turning into that thing in your lab or something. If
No, that's a bit more carefully constructed of a contract. Nothing so opportunistic as this.
And I can not reveal what knowledge I have, but I can reveal that I have a pact with you, and I may say no more of it.
That is correct. Although, as you pondered, so did I. The problem with isolating the relaying of information to your allies is a problem, because although I am trying to keep the knowledge from Toby Rama, the knowledge in the wrong hands could present an equal severity of inconvenience. So, what I would like to request is, rather than sectioning off specific people you can't tell it to, I will grant you the ability to discuss it with one other chosen ally. You must not speak of it to anyone else, and they must not speak of the information to anyone else. If someone finds the information through either of you as a source, you will be the one to pay its toll.
Amenable.
What ally do you choose so that I might enact it into the writing of the contract? I would like you, if you announce it here and now to me, I will describe to you what it is you are hiding.
Right, because you said something about that last night. Okay, hang on. Give my Jacoby 4 seconds. My mom or my sister? My mom or my sister? My sister doesn't know the world as well. My mom would know better, but who actually knows this shit is Gallus, who's dead. I could name a 4 wind then.
You could name a 4 wind.
Likely
Roulette.
other than me.
Not Toby.
Owlithier.
God, not Jiri or Rome. Rome wouldn't know or care per se. Roulette. Roulette might know. Mirage would. Oh,
I'm thinking like Owlithier.
Alethir's too worldly. I think I want to go with my mom, who is a ruler and understands what it means to have other rulers' fears in mind. But would it be more fun to talk with the character about it? Roulette's not going to have any extra insights, but maybe we could be on the lookout for it together. My good friend Roulette.
Very well. She has earned my attention in a couple ways. I think you've chosen well. Just be careful how you use the information. And as she is discussing, Infernal Script is crawling up her arm and manifests in a single infernal glyph in her palm. Upon our shake, I will describe to you what it is, the information you hold.
You're very good at these deals, aren't you?
I like to think so. And you shake, and you feel the infernal rune transmit through her hand, through your hand, onto the back of your palm. And you can already feel a small surge of strength that will enable faster strikes and therefore facilitate cantrips being cast in place of strikes. Once per turn around, per Blade Singer feature. Very well. What you saw in the king's mind, and I am going to say something here in case Toby Rama would like to take off headphones. He does not have to, but I thought he might want to.
He wants to.
All right, now we finally get a chance to rip on Toby.
That guy's heels suck.
The man you saw in Zavar's mind that looked like your friend, though older, with a bit of scruff and facial hair, though with a bald head. His name was Amenadiel. Amenadiel Armand. And he was, prior to our current grouping, a Talon for the king.
Oh my god.
His brother, Matthias Armand. That is the other man you saw clasping shoulders with Amenadiel. Make what assumptions and inferences you'd like with that information, but those are the two individuals that you saw in your mind, in the king's mind. The image is a painting, not a first-hand experience from Zavar, a painting that still hangs in Talon Reach today.
Very well. I have a question for you before you go. Yes. I want to cast Detect Thoughts, which doesn't have any components. Since we made a deal, might I know your actual name?
Oh.
Go ahead. Are you going to probe deeper?
No. Okay, I do not want her to know deeper. I do not want her to know I'm in here.
You do not probe deeper, and up front is a scramble of infernal chanting, and it sounds like 4, 5, 6, a dozen voices chanting, and it's just this mesh of language in infernal. And she says, "You must not know as much about devils as you claim." And then she walks out.
Is the Duke not a devil then?
She doesn't hesitate or no change in her pace. I'm going to give Toby the thumbs up that he can. All right, you are good. Moira has left the room and continues back to her lab.
And does my cousin then text me what just happened to my body?
Yes, I will. We can clarify stuff, but you'll find out the repercussion, that's sort of drawback when you first make strikes, but you functionally have access to the blade singing feature. You can cast your cantrips in place of a sword attack per turn.
Dash slinging, slash bringing.
Toby Rama, 3 minutes have gone by. and a localized tornado appears in front of you for a moment before a translucent, hovering wind, loosely in the form of a humanoid upper torso that has no lower body, but rather just wisps away into nothingness, holding a small container that you've seen before.
I open it.
Inside is a potion of a very bright blue silverish liquid, and as you pick it up, the liquid disappears. It is empty, but it feels like it's there, and then it appears again, and then it disappears again, and then it appears again. And it is it does not seem to be a potion of invisibility. Also, it does contain a small topaz that you think is sufficient for the gold quantity, and 2 small sticks of incense of high quality.
Okay, I'll take those, and I find a spot to stuff them into the hay of the bed and put it inside the side that I'm then going to push back up against the wall and just leave it for right now.
Okay. As soon as you do so, the conjured courier disapparates.
And I'd actually like to just take some time to try and start to think about what I think that potion might be.
Okay.
If there's any
You
way of
can
knowing.
make a... You're proficient with herbalism, yes?
That's correct.
So, although you might not be hyper adept at potion making, you've seen Telperion do it, you've been around him. You can make an Arcana check using with proficiency.
So this is just a d20 plus 4 then. And I may use my... No, I don't know. Maybe I'll use my luck point.
You can always just drink it.
Drink and find out.
Yeah.
10 plus 4, 14.
14. If the contents are any indication, you don't know specifically what category of spell, what the mechanics are necessarily, but if the fluid is constantly disappearing and reappearing, you suspect that might indicate the boon it would grant the drinker.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually seen the blink spell, if that's what Michael Kennedy's thinking about, but...
Okay.
What is Jiri doing at Tobirama's feet at this time? Still motionless, not able to move, but probably still muttering.
Crying. Yeah. Just kind of sobbing.
Conditions, exhaustion levels.
Yeah, I will also say, Jiri, when food was made available for you guys last night, did Jiri eat or drink?
I would have tried to offer some of that stuff.
They burned it to him.
He did not eat or drink anything. He is not responsive, not really doing anything. Take care of him.
Tobirama, even with sort of a passive medicine and your general MO, you deduce that although he got rest, it was not sufficient to reduce his level of exhaustion because he did not have sufficient nourishment. So he is still at 5 levels of exhaustion currently.
Yeah, and did Moira leave the diamond dust I said I needed to help him?
She dusted it for you, yeah.
She did dust it for you, so yeah, we can say she availed it to you in her meeting, but she left in such an excited rush that she didn't stick around to watch you try and restore him.
Because that's a 5th level spell slot, which would be nice for other things, but at the same time, doing anything with Jiri at 0 speed is pretty rough. I'm gonna wait to do that, and I'm gonna wait a few minutes, and in a bit, I'm gonna start a ritual casting of divination, but I don't know if other things are gonna happen before I give that a shot.
Great. Never mind. I don't think I got any information.
Critter, I just while this ever since I like let go of the book, I'm not commanding the book to do anything. But if I can't get information back, I will presume that I will know if I can lose connection to it.
I think that's probably fair. Yeah.
I don't know where it is, but I just want to. I'm going to keep pinging it till I.
You're gonna
sense.
basically be able to ping it until you feel that it's not pingable. Yeah.
Perfect. That's what I want to do.
Okay. In the meantime, after taking a look at this new formula recipe, I actually want to have you make an intelligence check. No proficiency.
I will just add 4 to this, whatever it is. 14. You know what? No, I'm not going to use it.
Okay.
14.
You can tell it is, although the sort of biomagical equation is different from spell writing and glyph work and rune patterns of spells, you can tell it is transmutation based in its intent.
Neat.
Unless there are any specific things that Telperion and Rome, you got something you're doing currently actively?
Yes. I'm very concerned for the safety of Jiri. So I'm going to
Thank you.
try, I'm gonna try something. So I would like to cast from inside of my, my cell, I want to cast a stone shape and create a little passageway. Let me draw like kind of what I mean, because you can only
Yeah,
go
please do.
5 feet in space. So I wanted to go like out this way and then out through the wall this way, like create like a little mouse hole.
Okay.
I guess it would be kind of like on a diagonal. Like it wouldn't be 5 feet in. It would be like creating like a little like turn. Does that make sense? Kind of.
Yeah.
Wait, can I say something to my
A little
fellow players?
passage available for you to get into the hallway, basically, yeah?
Yeah, but like as small as it can be so that like a mouse can get through.
Got it. And then Telperion, yes, what did you have in mind?
Can Mike Jacoby say something to his players since he's been in the cell alone the whole session? And
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I've only been able to communicate with Toby one time for a message. Mike Jacoby, 2 players. We got to get out now, right? Like, she's coming back to change Jiri's mind. She just left. Could we try to escape right now? And I have no means to communicate with you guys besides saying that as a player. So if y'all are interested, maybe you could make contact or we could start sharing information. But
I agree. We need to get out of here.
Rome, I'll say really quick, just for stone shape, you basically pick a 5 by 5 by 5 cube of stone, and you can adjust that in any way, shape, or form. So, like,
you can just open
yeah.
yourself.
So the way I imagine what this is doing, Rome, as you intended, is basically you're creating a little putt tunnel that you can escape through into the corridor or adjacent rooms if you would like.
Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't realize that these are like 5 feet away from each other.
They totally are.
Oh, okay.
You can literally just open windows through the stone right now.
Can I revise what I okay, let me open
Yeah.
up a space, like we'll say it's small enough so that it's not like totally obvious, but a 2 foot by 2 foot like kind of corridor between these 2 spaces so that I can wiggle my way through, because I don't need to
Listen, based on what you had said previously too, I'll do you one better. You can mold this 5 by 5 thing as you want. You can create sort of a T shape within this block of stone that allows you to get into Roulette's cell or out into the hallway if you want.
or my cell.
Excellent.
You may need to cast the spell again to
Yeah,
facilitate that for other cells.
Yeah, so I want to connect all 3 of these right now.
Okay.
So
2 stone shapes. So please mark off. Do you have? Oh, these are 4th level spells. So go ahead and mark off 2
Stone
4th
shape?
levels.
Apparently in only one thing. I thought it was concentration. You could do multiple.
It's not concentration, it's one.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, all the prerequisites have been met. So functionally, also, you guys can certainly whisper to each other through this hole now, and there are access ways into the corridor.
Also, in response to Mike's question, Jiri is my character, so please, like, I want to also advocate for getting out of here.
I have
and
an idea
not
of
having
how.
my memories be destroyed.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on this too. So when I can say that I'm in character, I will. But also, Mike Jacoby, Telperion doesn't have information yet, so information exchanging is kind of important for like.
Well, and that's
we've all
super fair
learned
game
a
too.
lot.
Like, I know table talk is sort of meta and like in general trying RP, but like this is a super good like vibe check of, guys, is the vibe right now? Let's make the rest of this session and maybe next session get the fuck out of here, please, so that there's not like stagnating frustration and stuff. 100%. That's always fair game. Just to make sure that you guys players are having fun in D&D.
The second there's a little window, I'm staring through it, and hopefully I'm looking at Rome and Roulette, and I'm just like telepathing like I've never telepathed before. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? What information do we have? Why'd you do this? Do we need to change something? What's been going on? I've been stuck in here since last night without any information, except to know from Toby that we might be able to get rescued. I don't know if you know that.
How do you know that?
Toby sent me a message saying that he had.
He sent the same message that he did to Roulette, saying
Oh.
they'll facilitate a thing. Prepare accordingly was the message.
I don't know if we should leave early, but by the terms of the contract, the second we stop helping her, mitigated harm goes away. So if we're to leave, we have to do it when she's like not around. But I don't know when she's leaving, or if she went to Danor last night, I think. Maybe she'll leave again. What do you two know?
She has left, and she's retrieving some items that she needs in order to wipe Jiri's memory. So it is of utmost importance that we get out of here, in my particular opinion.
Can I do a ping really quick just to see how far away my magic book is?
Yeah, you ping
Or magic book.
and it's not within reach. The journal has left.
Okay.
I know where our stuff is, so that is a part of the equation. We do need to be able to pick up all of our equipment before we leave.
If she left and we destroy her circle, she might not be able to teleport back. On top of us escaping.
Oh, that like teleportation like sphere.
That's how
thing.
she comes here.
Interesting.
So here's the question. Jiri, do we need to take that metal and just, here's my thought. Well, what do you know? And Rome, I'm asking about like, maybe you download to me some of what you just learned about her intention. So that way we don't have to RP you telling me all that.
Yes.
Okay, so here's my thought. What if we take that metal, and we know it's Devon now, what if we take it back to Athenian and we ask our allies to help introduce it back to Jiri? I think he needs it.
I agree. I think we're also going to have to rebuild his entire psyche.
But when we take him in the metal, we can do it without her trying to create whatever.
I agree. She cannot be involved at all. She definitely has her own intentions, and it's not really even quite sure what she's planning on doing moving
What
forward.
do you think?
This information for.
Sorry about that.
I have no way of getting us out of here. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I can get back into the hallway and attempt to get back into her office, but the issue is that I'm not even quite sure if I'll be able to get into the place where our equipment is stored. And then from there, how do we leave? Like, can we use her portal to teleport elsewhere? Would
So
that be
we can't be seen in the hallway, and we can't open these doors per se. But also, Toby said there was some aid coming.
Yeah, what, sorry, I was away from my computer. That you guys grouped up.
Yeah, so if you look at the screen real quick, just to summarize very quickly, Rome, through some pretty clever use of the spell, you can't see the screen?
Because I'm on Toby's shadow.
That's right.
area.
Through the clever use of some stone shape, Rome facilitated very minor putt-putt-esque tunnel holes in a T shape that will facilitate her conversation with Telperion on one side and Roulette on the other, and them with each other as well, all telepathically, probably for minimal volume, but also the T shape facilitating little entrances out to the corridor as well. So now they're sharing information, discussing, they're wanting to break out. They remember that you had sent them a message saying our allies can help us break out, but plan accordingly, blah blah blah.
Roulette, could you teleport into my cell?
No. I can squeeze through this little 2 foot by 2 foot tunnel, probably, that Rowan just made for us.
Could we just make one more tunnel to get into the lab? I thought they were like small. Could you make another tunnel into her lab from my cell? Ren?
Well, I guess I crawl through, and then can I like do some like taps on the wall? You know how like they look for studs or whatever to figure out if it's like hollow enough?
Yeah, sure. Yes, if your tunnel currently is big enough for you to squeeze through and army crawl through, yes. As you kind of get to this space here, as close as you possibly can toward Moira's lab, go ahead and make a nature check. With advantage, because of your commune with nature 2 days ago.
Critter, and
yeah,
I'm only going to ask this because I specifically was doing measurements of my own cell. Can I make a check to know, upon Telperion asking, if we would be able to tunnel into the lab?
Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
Nope.
There's some stuff at play. Rome, with a 20 plus check, you can confirm, based on your commune with nature, you also got a fairly good lay of the land here, almost sort of like a dowsing rod, understanding the construction of this subterranean place you're in. You suspect this wall is too thick for your stone shape to be as successful as it just was. You would probably need to use 2 stone shapes to get in there, but it could be done.
Where's Toby?
We have Toby.
Oh, looks like you and Tim are both muted.
Wait,
My bad.
I
Sorry.
could use a 5th level spell slot, I guess, to cast Stone Shape, right? That's how that works?
You can.
You're absolutely allowed to do that, which I think Stone Shape doesn't have like upcasting benefits, so it would just functionally be using a 5th level and a 4th level to do the job of 2 4th level slots.
Okay, I would need to, if like we need to use some higher level magic, I would need to do some sort of short rest to gain back some of these spell slots. If we like, and also like, all right, once we're in here, then what's the plan? I feel like we really need to suss out what exactly the plan is before I start expending.
You're right.
But basically, you think you can facilitate it, but it's going to be draining on you for sure.
All right,
Yeah.
we need Toby because we can't get out of here without that.
Roulette, just to touch on your intelligence check, you took good measurements of your own cell, but you don't know how the floor plan is oriented here.
Telperion, what do you think of me using my final stone shape for the day on retrieving Toby and Jiri and connecting that final cell?
I thought you did connect that cell using 3 total
They're
castings.
across the hall, though.
No,
She's
I
only
haven't-
used 2 castings so far.
Oh, okay.
But I think they're
Gotcha.
across the hall, so I don't think we can do that.
No, they're one cell further down.
Oh.
Right here.
Oh. Well, that's Oh, we need
I don't
to...
know how else we'd be able to get them out of their cell other than to connect them, so.
I don't think that's a bad idea.
I think but I think the question right now is, if you connect that last cell, you ain't got enough juice to
undo it
to get us into the thing, unless we're out in the hall. But again, we need to get these doors open first. So I would say, personally, it makes sense to connect with our friends first and then figure out something. Because even getting in that lab, I don't know if.
Yeah, there are other ways of getting into the lab. I saw them with these yellow stones. So if we could get our hands on one of these yellow stones, or I did have some success with Dispel Magic, we can get into the lab.
All right. So I think do the connection, because at this point, honestly, there's no going back. We just use 2 spells to get these rooms connected. Use a 3rd because we can't let her come back and find us. This has gone on long enough. I think we've extracted what we could, and now she's threatening Jiri's entire being.
Agreed. It's done.
Maybe, and we need to talk to Toby. Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying it's done. I casted the spell, and I tunnel my way into Toby's.
Okay, so climbing through to your cell through roulettes, you will facilitate one more stone shape that will now connect Toby and Jiri's cell to yours. So functionally, all of you now I think Telperion end to end might not be able to telepathically talk to Jiri and Tobirama from the other end of the holes, but otherwise information exchange is pretty free at this point.
Do you think this would have been enough time for me to ritually cast divination?
Yes, I do. What were you looking for from divination?
Yes. So, let me ask a single question concerning a specific goal, event, or activity to occur within 7 days. Okay, so it's gonna be along the lines of Moira being away is our best time to try and escape. Would we be likely to succeed an escape mission given what forces lie above? And that'll consume the incense sticks.
The incense burns away, and the smoke sort of takes on a silverish appearance as it wafts around you. Your vision fades to black, which you're familiar with, but it still can be a somewhat disorienting process, almost like you're about to black out. And in the darkness, you see a very rough depiction, almost like there's definitely media shows, TV shows that have done this well, where like a plume of smoke will like look like a tangible object and represent like a landscape or something. The silver mists that you see depict a brief representation of your memory of what the Lux Monastery grounds look like right now. A couple Wyvern Knights, a couple squadrons of soldiers, which are a threat, a Reaver or two, and a couple of those infernal spheres. Based on Mirage's suggestion that you guys just need to get to the western coast, it's probably going to be difficult, but you think you can get it done, but not like you are now. And so the final thing that you see is the sigil circles formed from translucent silver mist just floating in the air, 5 of them next to each other.
Okay.
But you think this is a viable plan if you get your gear.
Uh-huh. Oh, you guys.
What's that potion you got on your hand?
I hold up a potion, give it a shake, it goes transparent, and then it's opaque again, and I just pocket my topaz. Topaz is interesting. It's probably not actually attuned to these magics, but that's still interesting.
Yeah, it probably has a more amber orange coloration. Probably not attuned to these things.
Yeah.
You quickly identify coloration wise. Also, out of curiosity, have you cast Greater Restoration on Jiri, or that's still just crystallized or powdered diamond in your pocket? Okay.
I've got that in my pocket. Mirage sent me this potion. He also sent me a component for a spell that could be useful. They're off the coast, directly west of the monastery. If we can escape, there's a couple Wyvern Knights, I think 2 squadrons of soldiers, 1 maybe 2 Reavers. We've seen the spheres roaming around. If we can get to our gear, I think we will be able to escape. I am incredibly confident that this is our opportunity to do this, but it does hinge on our gear. And then one last thing is, I think I can get Jiri up and walking, but it will be my last highest level magic for the day. I don't know if carrying him is better for me to save that magic or to get him on his feet so he's able to do things.
We have the jewel. He could rest in that in an emergency if we have our gear.
If we have our gear.
Did Mirage mention anything about the troops?
Yes, there was a lot of communication between Mirage and Minerva. Mathros feels confident if they just keep being subservient and behaving, they won't be unduly repercussed. I don't know how much that takes into account the actual deal we struck.
Roulette, passive intelligence wise, I'll make a clarification for you. You remember, as part of your contract, you had basically negotiated the release of the forces in a month's time. If you void your contract, they will not be released at a month's time, but that does not mean the prior contract that Moira struck with Mathros is affected at all. He had claimed their surrender for the safety of his troops. So even if they're not going to be released now, should you void your pact, that does not necessarily jeopardize their safety based on your active pact.
Roulette will move back from the hold to think about that for a moment.
I'm also gonna start ritually casting Water Walk, just for the sake of it.
Okay.
I just have to see them all, so.
Do I notice Roulette? Like, are you obviously thinking about the troops, kind of as a sticking point?
You would probably have seen like a weird, like, you would have sensed mental agitation, or just like,
yeah.
I will keep my hand in the hole so that like Telperion can see.
Cool. My father's with those troops, and I do nothing flippantly to risk them. But every day we're here, we are a further risk. And also, whatever we're giving her is, I think it's when we stop just giving her these
also,
things.
This is straight from Alaya and Tanufael. They're intent on marching on Ostennis almost immediately within a very short time frame. So that's also why they were near the west coast, urgent for us to meet them on their way there.
So who's going to bomb that potion and get into the lab and get the key to break us out?
What potion?
I hold it up again and shake it, and it goes invisible, the liquid inside, and then becomes opaque again, and then it becomes invisible.
And what is that?
I don't totally know. It's not an invisibility potion. I think it's...
I telekinetics it to my hand and investigate it.
Okay. Go ahead and make an Arcana check with proficiency for herbalism.
I rolled a 3. Plus 3 is intelligence, plus proficiency is 4, so 10. God damn it.
Pretty similar to Toby, even though you're familiar with herbalism and the idea of potion making, this isn't an arcane effect you're familiar with.
Well, it's going to get us out of here, right? This is the aid they sent. So who's most capable without anything? I shouldn't drink it because I can't get in there and cast Dispel Magic on something.
Let's switch.
Does taking a long rest remove the poison condition from you?
What did you get it from?
I think the Bone Devil attacked me and gave me poison.
Bone Devil?
Let me double check real quick. Very valid question.
When I clicked long rest and confirmed it, it didn't get rid of it. I don't know how long.
You had the ability to repeat the saving throw each of your turns. It ended after a minute of the combat, so pretty quickly after your victory.
He's faking it.
So who's going to drink the potion?
I can find traps and detect magic, and I'll be able to dispel 3.
It's gotta be roulette. It's gotta be roulette. Because roulette, you can cast spells, you can interact, and also Toby can't keep depleting his spell slots. Roulette, if you take that potion, get into the lab, or do you think you could? Can you turn invisible and get the...
Illicent's journal is in the lab.
We gotta loot the shit out of that lab.
I mean, I don't know what this potion does, so it'll teleport me to create a Corridal. I don't know what this potion does.
It was the aid Mirage sent. We just have to use it. I need to get out of these cells. I'm gonna die if I'm in these cells longer. Let's just go for it. You can inspect the potion then.
I will take the potion and I will see if I can inspect it to see what this potion does.
By utilizing magic or just inspecting it?
I just inspecting. I don't have identify prepared.
Go ahead and make a general arcana check.
Come on, baby.
I'll add 4 to make it 22.
Second.
You think you saw this floating around in Mirage's bits and baubles he had in the Arcanium one time, and he may have strayly mentioned it to a customer of, oh yeah, we've got potions of invisibility, of enlarge, reduce, you name it. This one even can make you disappear and pop in and out of the ethereal plane at will, and then on to the next one, and you do suspect it is a potion of blink.
As further justification, that is on my spell list. So once I start thinking about it, yeah, I think I know what this does. I don't know. I mean, it's still risky. This is not going to be definitive, and I mean, this will get me out of the cell, but unless I steal a key off of someone,
Well, it's a yellow topaz, right, that we're looking for that voids the glyphs that allows them to be opened. So hopefully there's one of those lying around in there.
Can anyone turn invisible right now?
I can.
So you could pickpocket a guard.
I mean,
I could attempt to pickpocket a guard as an invisible rat.
I think your hands might be a little small for a topaz. As a rat.
When I recall the size of this stone, how big was it exactly?
It's somewhat large. If it's a true, the fact that it's arcanely imbued with magic might indicate some properties of it, but it's definitely a large enough gem that if it was like a diamond that size, it would be worth thousands and thousands of gold.
Probably like
It's a substantial, like probably like fits in your, like a golf ball sized gem.
Golf ball.
so maybe a cat instead of a rat. I
Yeah.
don't
Okay.
know.
Then I can transform into a cat and be invisible and go and
A
go-
chipmunk
Yeah.
in your cheek.
If someone's invisible and using the blink spell, they could get into the lab, look for one, and then if not, teleport upstairs, grab one out of a guard's pocket. This is just a moment for action. We gotta do it now. There's no
Agility
delay.
and
There's no
blink.
blocking spells.
I can be invisible and I can drink this potion. I know how it functions for the most part.
You're also our best investigator.
It's gonna just be a matter of luck. Hopefully, getting in there and out of there. Intelligence / investigation thought critter. Would someone store a spare key inside of a locked room? Specifically, like, is there going to be a spare key in her lab? And did I see one?
Rogue, did you see one when you fucked around in there?
See what exactly?
That's for
Sure.
Craig to answer.
Yes. Rome did not necessarily investigate that. Did not necessarily flag that in there. Roulette, it's kind of up to the individual, but part of you thinks that if Reavers are walking around with them, they didn't make those. They came from Moira, so like if she's handing them out, maybe she's got some.
Okay.
A spare.
I drink this. No, I go invisible. I drink this. I scour the lab as quickly as possible for a spare key. If not there, I make my way over to the locked room, the workroom, and I do my best to steal a key.
Bye, Roulette. I'll go
You
straight.
can now also walk on water for the next hour. As can all of us.
Nice.
Amazing.
If we're going to be walking off the coast within the next hour, I figured that might be useful.
Roulette, down the hatch. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
I look left and right in there, and I'm looking for a confirmation from the rest of the party that this is the correct plan of action,
Get us out
or
of here.
best plan of action.
Put up 3 thumbs up.
Please place yourself on the map where you drink the potion.
Entering turn mode.
Yes, literally.
Perfect. I am going to This is a weird roam as a rat in my pocket question again. My pencil is technically a creature now,
Mhm.
tiny construct. If it's inside of my breast pocket, it does not go invisible, correct?
I'm gonna make an exception here and say that because for a tiny inanimate object that you've animated is, I'm gonna say, different than a living creature. So we'll let this one slide. It's a pencil; it can still go invisible.
I
with it.
promise not to abuse that in the future.
Yeah.
On purpose. I promise not to abuse that on purpose in the future. I will tuck my pencil in my pocket. I will cast invisibility on myself. And
Which is a concentration for 1 hour. Yes.
Yes, there's 1 hour. I will tunnel as far as I can through the tiny things to the right.
My OG cell.
To Telperion cell where Toby is now. And I down the hatch.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Here's where things are gonna get interesting.
Yeah, I know, because I know how the spell works.
A turn goes by. Please roll a d20.
What do we want? Higher or lower?
Where does it go? How long does it last?
2.
Nothing seems to happen. That's turn 1. Turn 2. Go ahead and roll a d20 for the end of turn 2.
It's blank. It's 10 turns, right?
That is turn 2.
Wait, can I
Go
hold
ahead
on.
and
Does
for
anyone have
turn 3.
inspiration?
I don't think it worked.
I just want to confirm something really quick on
Well,
this
'cause
spell.
it's not at the
I think
shack.
it's just a d20. It's not anything. Yeah.
It is just a d20. You're looking for 11 or higher.
Yep.
At the end of turn 3, you disappear. And then upon your choosing at the beginning of your next turn, you can choose, once you're in the ethereal plane, your whole being shifts. You feel lighter. You can see through these stones as if they're translucent glass or wisps of air. And you can see the corridor right on the other end of you. And you know you can translocate there at the beginning of your turn. So upon the start of turn 4, you can be in the corridor.
I will move 10 feet to there.
Okay. At the end of turn 4, please roll a d20.
During turn 4, I'm going to move directly adjacent to that door.
Sure.
I'm gonna, in the meantime, I'm picking up Jiri. I want all of us in my cell, because Olive said before she left, a single dispel magic could get us out of this one cell. So we should all be grouped up together in case she has to resort to that. And I'm gonna be Jiri holder.
Okay.
There's also a discussion. Do we want to let Jiri walk, or do you feel good about carrying him?
What good can it do us if he walks? Like, I mean, and
It could avail you of your sword.
It would also. He can go in the gem. Is my. I'm saying to like.
Right. That should be.
He can go in the gem. If he can walk, does he still take a hit and die? I don't know his condition.
He's at half health and half speed, so he'd have to dash to move normal speed.
Tim, do you want to be able to...
Speed is 0.
I'm saying if I use Greater Restoration to
I asked
get rid of
Jiri-
that level of exhaustion.
I asked Jiri dash my friend Tim, do you want to be able to walk?
He's pretty out of it. I mean, at this point, like, the only difference is 20 feet of movement.
He's
Right.
staying with me. Because save your magic for an emergency.
That was Tim saying that. Jerry doesn't say anything to you. He's like,
Yeah. But also as a player, you have stake in this, so I don't want you to feel like we're railroading you into no movement.
nah, I mean, I think it makes more sense to save the spell.
I will then start ritually casting Feign Death on Jiri, just so he gets resistance to all damage before we maybe get him in the gem.
Okay, you begin casting that spell. Roulette, end of turn 4, d20, please.
Yeah.
You disappear, and at the start of turn 5, you are in Moira's lab. You
Peter,
have functionally 30 seconds or so to find a key.
Crit, I use a spell slot in the pile of dirt in my hand to cast Longstrider on myself.
Okay, you can give yourself Longstrider.
The Up along the north wall is, I think I see the 5 things where like our
Yes,
kit is
those
locked.
seem to be the runes where your gear is somehow magically stored within.
And am I correct that like just passive first glance, those sigils match in general ish the sigils on the floor? I don't need to know if it's identical. I just okay.
Yep.
Knowing that I spent my time in the room up there by the crystal lens in 5, and I don't remember explicitly seeing it, and I also wouldn't want to store my keys next to my vault. I am going to start down here at table 1, searching for any sort of keys, rifling as much as possible.
Go ahead and make an investigation check during turn 5.
I have a question for Rome as this is happening.
Yeah.
Rome, that teleportation circle is built on stone. If I just hacked at it and made a lot of noise, I don't know that I could destroy it. Do you think you could disrupt that magical pattern so she couldn't teleport back here? With some of your spells? And essentially you don't have to answer right now, but I want you to look at your spells to see if like you could fuck up her teleportation circle with high level magic.
Yeah. Okay.
Roulette with a 22. You give a much more thorough pass than Rome was able to on this table. She may have been distracted with poor Delta, who has been turned from Fire Genasi to low-level devil, the Lemure. You find a number of items in this chest, all mundane, but very valuable. You do find 5 topaz runestone.
Fucking.
You also find, contained within a simple shelf, a somewhat weathered, but in relatively okay condition, even if cracked a bit, a leather-bound journal of pages that you recognize as something you've seen before. It seems to match the indication of where Toby had mentioned where Illicent's journal was.
I don't know who Illicent is, but I pocket the journal.
I thought you were gonna say you leave it on her.
Who's this bitch?
There are also 3 small wooden lockboxes. There's definitely coin within. They are all each locked.
You said I found. Can you repeat? I found 5 amber.
5 topaz runestone keys.
Imagine if we locked up a bunch of the gods in these cells.
Zahir style. They
Yeah,
show
literally.
up and you just swipe them in there.
Yeah.
Picking them up, do they look identical?
They look pretty identical. This is a somewhat, if not mundane, easily replicable item that does not seem to be hyper keyed into a specific runic sequence per se.
Perfect. I stow the journal and I grab all 5, like cupping them in my hands, and I just run right back over to the door, and I stand in front of the door holding the 5 keys.
You hear a humming on the outside of the door, and before you know it, it slides. Please roll a d20 at the end of your turn.
Amazing.
If we knew that there was only a minute on that potion, I would be like right now getting everybody ready to. If our door opens because Roulette has an opening, I'm gonna get everyone ready to.
I'm ready to
watch it out.
abandon my ritual casting for sure.
Once more, this strange sensation takes over, Roulette, and you're in a different plane, technically, but it overlaps so thoroughly with this one. You can see your surroundings. It's just you can see through them, and you see your allies waiting for you in Telperian cell just over there, though you won't be able to translocate into that room just yet. But at the start of turn 6, go ahead and move yourself 10 feet as you reappear if you would like.
I'm just I'll move 10 feet here.
Can you let us out from inside?
It is now functionally your turn on turn 6, so you have movement available to you. You have touched
I'm
material plane again.
I'm going to move here 1 space, and I'm going to take one of the keys and just place it on the floor. And then I'm going to immediately turn around and go back into the room, pocketing the 4 keys for the moment.
4 Winds sans Roulette. The door in front of you slides over, and no one's there, but there is a small runestone key just set on the floor.
I just my eyes pop out of the cell and I look to see if there's anyone in the hallway.
does not appear to be anyone. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay. What is that? 19? 22.
You don't hear anything. No commotion down the hallway. No grinding of stones in the distance.
You hear in your head as I look back because I'm waiting for the door to because the door is now doing this to the lab.
You do hear the chirping of a half dozen imps screeching and squealing.
I will look back at Telperion. Got the keys. Get into the lab.
I think you're in run.
Pick up the key. Get into the lab.
I telekinetically hang on to the key until everyone's out, and then I pull it in after us.
Tobirama probably has to move more slowly if you're going to maintain your ritual casting,
not.
but you're able.
I'm not.
Oh, you're breaking
Yeah.
ritual cast. Okay. You are all functionally in there, and I'll say I don't think this is hyper necessary over the course of the next 4 turns, but over the next couple turns, Roulette sort of pops in and out of existence, but functionally you guys are now walled into her lab.
The moment we walk in, I'm gonna cast Find Traps.
Okay, is that just an action spell?
Action spell.
You do not detect any traps in this vicinity.
No traps in the vicinity. Let's gear up.
I let Telperion know that I intend on transmuting the rock that the portal sits upon so that it transforms into mud and gets sucked, like kind of sucked down. According to the spell, that's what it does, so.
Okay, so what spell is that?
Transmute rock. It's a 5th level spell.
5th level spell. Transmute rock on the teleportation sequence.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see this.
So as we're my plan is. Wait, did that happen just right now?
No.
If you used transmute rock on this sigil sequence, the room starts to shake a little bit, and you do see cracks appear within the intricate arcane lines. She did not have time to facilitate a full year-long inscribing of an arcane teleportation circle. This was some sort of temporary magic, and the presence of a 5th level spell sundered it.
It doesn't matter if she knows.
Time
Oh my
to gear
god.
up.
Keys to the locks.
I'm on turn. I'm still in turn 6. I've
7,
not
6
taken
or
action
7.
yet. I've just been walking around. I'm going to step into the room. I am going to drop 3 of the keys just in the middle of the floor in front of someone. And I will pocket one of the other keys. I would like to spend my remaining 4.5 turns essentially getting down to the guard's room to
Keep watching.
just scope it out.
Okay. Let's have you. You can dash.
Actually, hold on. I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I want to get to here, 10 feet away from the door. So I think that was 60.
So it'll take you 3 turns, but you can get very close to the door in that 3 turns. Your spell's about to fade. I'd say on the end of turn 9, roll a d20.
I think this might accomplish what I want to do anyway. Nope.
Just misses 11. I think your magic does not facilitate your entrance to the ethereal plane at this point.
Still invisible.
So you are still invisible, but you do not have the opportunity to see through the walls and witness what is on the other side of that situation.
Do I get one more roll for turn 10? It lasts a minute?
Yeah, I guess so.
I was just a general.
Yeah, it ends at the end of round 10. Yeah, I would say its magic can still help you at the end of round 10, and then it's automatically going to shut you back at the start of round 11, and it's done. So yeah, so go ahead, and if you're waiting here, one more roll.
My god.
17. Whether or not you want to translocate yourself, you see think you might be able to. I'll put you here. I don't know if the walls are obscuring you,
I
but
don't want to. I don't want to move.
and you
there.
might not want to. I'm just moving you for
Yeah.
a second so
Oh,
that
okay,
you
yeah,
can visibly see things. You can see through the walls. There is a soldier in this room,
Yeah.
2 soldiers in this room,
Toby, get out of there.
I'm
Um,
just
you
showing for
see-
the recording.
and you see the Reaver walking around and sort of muttering under his breath to this knight, just kind of walking around talking to the soldier. You hear a sort of chuckle under your breath, and the knight says, "Boy, ain't you got to give him lunch yet?"
I was about to ask that.
Yeah, I guess I'll go get it.
I start putting on my armor immediately.
Yeah, we're heavy gearing up.
Okay. Heavy armor takes 10 minutes to don.
Yeah.
Are you going to try and don it?
Yeah.
How
Okay.
long does mine take, and can I assist him to make
Light
it
armor, I
quicker?
think, takes 1 minute. Medium armor takes 5 minutes, I believe. But holding your topaz runestone keys to the sigils on the wall, the sigil, sort of the language and arcane script on it, rotates, and then just a vacuous hole appears, and almost like a cubby, all your stuff is just sitting there, magically stored in some pocket plane as if it was stored in the recesses of the wall.
I do get my sword out, so it's next to me. I still have my rings back on too. Is attunement instant?
No,
Attunement
I don't
is
think
not
so.
instant. It requires an hour. So, great question. No new attunements will be available other than what you physically had on your person in your cells. Let's see. I just want to get this right. Armor donning. I think I got those right, but I want to quickly. Medium is 5, light is 1, heavy is 10. So Telperion, I think you're the only one who uses heavy armor. Jiri, I think
I have a
even uses half
changer, which
plate.
is a medium.
Okay. So Telperion's gonna have the hardest time gearing up in time, but we'll see how that goes. Who else is looting? Telperion's entire focus right now is
Yeah, me too.
gearing up. A minute passes, and those of you who have light armors can put that on. Who's looting what in this minute as Roulette's completing her sort of scouting mission down the hall?
I am sprinting back. Sorry.
Okay, sprinting back, regrouping.
When you regroup and you tell us that, well, if one of them's bringing us lunch, and the second he goes in that cell, could we push him in the cell and lock it behind him so he doesn't cut short this time we have? It might be the simplest way to prevent them all finding out.
Yeah, he should start in the farthest cell.
These Reavers are coming, and I'll be saying this out loud. These Reavers are coming with multiple
Oh, the
stolen-
spears.
stolen defenders. It's not just gonna be one guy.
For lunch delivery?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
showed up with the paper plates.
Yeah. What's the order here? What's the order here? I am.
Can we ask for an overview from Rome, who's been in this room, before we start looting?
Yeah, there are some general notes on there as well. There's general arcane components strewn without, probably bits and baubles that might be
Oh.
valuable.
Is Hyperivel's crystal on the table?
Very clearly identifiable on this centralized, sort of nicely crafted wooden base. An arcane crystal glass sits on the outside, housing the sludge, and you can see the sludge like pushing itself up against the inside of the glass toward you all. Some clearly visually reacting to your presence.
Do we want to try and facilitate it bonding back with Jiri right now?
Oh, second, it's going to be explosive, and we don't have your. I think it needs to be like a ritual where we are prepared and
Okay.
ready.
But we need
I-
to pocket that. I'll pocket that.
Okay, it's somewhat hefty, not
Oh,
pocketable.
Okay.
It's like a large foot
Oh,
tall, 6-inch diameter arcane glass with a base.
Oh, putting a creature inside a bag of holding is probably not good, so we probably can't put it in the bag of holding.
I'll carry it out of here when it comes to that.
I'll put on the Raven Slumber and put Jiri inside. If Jiri is
Fury
the
in the
one.
necklace.
Poor Tim.
Mhm.
He's watching TV this session.
Oh,
No,
I'm
we're
listening.
trying to get you back in
Hanging
there.
out. It's all
Alex, what
good.
are you saying?
I wonder if we can utilize the Lemure at all. Like, it's like I like beckon Toby over, and I ask him if there's any way that we can like heal this creature. Because I get the sense that
Oh.
deep down he's good.
What if we just release the ambulance into the hallway?
Then they might just attack us.
No, we we try and funnel it into and we shut the door after they get into the hallway.
We
And
can
then
move their
deal with the
attention
aftermath.
in direction.
Distraction, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll at least be. I don't know. I don't know how quiet we're gonna be able to keep it.
Get my stuff.
Yeah, get your.
Yeah, we're getting everyone's stuff.
Get my stuff.
I'm gonna.
It'll
forward-
essentially take a turn or two to retrieve each person's full inventory. Is a bunch of stuff going in bag of holding?
So
Did you
here's
guys
what
get a
I'm-
portable hole?
here's
Yeah,
what
we
I'm-
do. I put the portable hole on the ground.
Oh my God.
Fill it with us shit now.
Oh, that's where Hyperivel can go because I think that's survivable as opposed to the bag of holding.
He's in a crystal, so I don't know if it's.
What Toby is gonna do is forego taking 5 minutes to put on his chain shirt and just equip everything else. I want to equip everything else instead of putting my armor
Okay.
on.
What do you have to
You're,
equip?
I
that
think,
costs that long?
healthily able to over the couple minutes. You have geared out yourself, stuff stowed in pockets where you want in your bags.
I got boots, I got
Lirniala
rings, I got
slung over your
quivers,
shoulder, quiver.
bow.
You are completely refitted, but
Single
no
shield.
armor and no new attunements other than the medallion currently.
I've got a shield, so that helps.
It's just like those are object interactions you could probably get done in a minute. You don't have to give it 5 minutes to do that.
I'll do those before I start taking 5 minutes.
I am going to take out the pencil. I'm going to place it on the ground. It's going to sprout legs. It's going to sprout legs, and then I'm going to mentally command it to say, "Run down the end of the hallway, peek around the corner, come running back when you see someone."
We have to leave. We're gonna leave the door open.
Sure. Yeah.
That's not a problem. It's just the solution to him not being able to come back in.
So I will place Penicillium at the end of the hallway, peeking around the corner.
Perfect.
I don't know what else.
Sentry has been stationed. Everyone's gearing up.
The only thing I'm equipping are my tools and my little pouches of gold dust for immovable object.
Okay. Who, if anyone, is spending a couple turns to loot surrounding tables? Just dumping shit into the portable hole.
I want to make sure Hyperivel's crystal gets in the portable hole, so I'll start at table 4, and also
Okay.
do my best to identify anything else worth taking.
I'm
You
gonna
definitely
take-
see that there's quickly 2 spell scrolls on that table in
Grab
addition to
those.
Hyperivel. Rome.
I'm gonna take the book that had the information on the Guardian project.
That is not currently available, but you check that drawer because Roulette had studied that and then given it back to Moira, who has it with her somewhere.
Hmm.
However, you check that drawer looking for it, and there are 6 hourglass-shaped vials of different coloration in there.
Yeah,
You're
this-
able to swipe those.
Yeah, I'll take those.
Okay. You grab
Rome, if
those.
you want, sling them into here, and I throw you my quiver of Alana, because those are probably like dark-sized shapes. So
Mhm.
there's a slot, so you could just put those in my quiver.
So
in, like,
they're accessible, that's good.
yeah, and they're not gonna break.
Yeah, I give them to Talperion.
Is the portable hole just like on the floor right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roulette dumps 85% of her stuff in there. She's got her weapon, her tools, and the gold dust. I don't think there's anything, and like sash of Misty Step. Anything else she could very quickly throw on, and that's it.
Okay. Some good loot. I imagine just because you had seen these earlier,
Oh,
Roulette,
I taught yes.
the three wooden chests, I imagine, are going in there.
Yeah.
This is an arcane table. Number 2's
One-
arcane stuff, right?
You guys get to choose who's going to roll this, but someone please roll me a d20 with disadvantage.
I got you.
Ooh, for how many minutes? And it's
I got you.
lower. Can I do it so I can use a luck point?
No, well, I already rolled it.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if luck. You don't want to luck
I
this.
don't know. I
Oh,
just
it is. 9 is the lower one.
9 is the lowered one. Telperion, you're still strapping on your stuff, when you roulette, you see a little pencil man running down the hallway, waving his little pencil arms, and you hear the grinding of stone down further in the hallway.
I will immediately say out loud, because I am still invisible, we got company. As soon as they open that first cell, they're going to know we're not there. What do we want to do?
Can we make an illusion?
Um,
I can't stop putting this on, or
yeah,
else I'll
Telperion,
get
keep doing that. Let us
naked.
focus. Would that have that would have been enough time to do some chain shirt donning?
It is enough time for any medium armor wearers to have donned their medium armor.
Gorgeous.
Take this.
However, I'll say no greater restoration has been put on Jiri yet, and with his level of exhaustion, he's not able to don it himself.
He's in the necklace.
Oh, that's right. He's in the necklace. I just wanted to clarify that he wasn't able to get armored up in that situation.
Just grab my stuff though, right?
Yes, it's in.
Yes,
portable hole, bag
absolutely.
of
You
holding.
guys' stuff
It's in there.
has been gathered.
I've got an idea. Oh, sorry, Ron, go ahead.
I could cast spike growth down the hallway to prevent them from moving any forward through the hall.
But then they're just going to go back and start rallying reinforcements.
You could put them in the portable hole. Rush into the room and get the portable hole in there. And then
I can
pull them.
paralyze him. I don't think I can paralyze the other people, the other spheres.
Literally, as Telperion says that, I grab the portable hole. I pick it up. I'm running down the hall. I'll see what I could do. You guys have the keys. Shut this door, though. And I take I take the portable hole and I run as quickly as I can on the top half of the hallway, like doing a crouching.
I'd say it's a 10-foot, so you're going to still be in melee distance with someone on the ground, but functionally, yeah.
And I want to get essentially to this corner as quickly as possible. That's my goal.
You get there, and as you can see on the screen, as you get there, you look upside down. A Reaver is there with an infernal sphere behind him, and he just looks up. The hell?
Invisible.
And he reaches back for.
I'm invisible.
Oh, that's right. Invisible. Go ahead and make a stealth check, because he may still hear you.
With advantage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm now trying
Apologies
to
for
help
that.
Telperion.
Forgot the
I was like-
invisibility is still active. Yeah, yeah.
I'm now
I
trying
was like,
to help
oh,
speed
yeah.
up Telperion's last
The Reavers have C invisibility. Duh.
strikes.
I'm going to delete Raven's Slumber from my inventory, Toby, if you want to add it
I
to your...
put it to mine.
Wow.
But you have
What
I'll make the first one of 14, and that's my third one of the day.
His passive perception. I'll just roll the perception check just so you can see the modifier. Is a 14 with his +4 modifier. So a 14, he hears noise. What the hell? Less aggressively, more confusedly, he grabs for his battle axe and thinks about swinging. What do you do, Roulette?
I scoot 5 feet back down the hallway towards the thing, towards the
Okay.
lab.
As he takes a swing upward, he does hear footsteps. The hell? And he moves forward a space. Is the door still open
We've got
to
the lab door
lab?
closed, and we're rushing to get Telperion's last bits of armor on him.
Okay. Roulette, a second strike comes your way with disadvantage as the second part of his attack here. $21?
21. I thought it was a 13. Oh, a 21 probably hits because my armor thing is not on.
Okay, so 21 for 13 slashing damage as in the air, his hammer hits something. He's like, fuck! And he just like tries to pull whatever it is down. Functionally not able to make a shove anything right now, and you are, with a flying speed, I think, able to stay up there. Functionally the end of his turn, but you do see the eyes of the infernal sphere behind him begin to blaze brightly. What are the rest of you doing in this moment? Still helping Telperion get his armor on, sure.
Rome, I'm going to direct you to just grab anything off of table 2 that seems good. Just that's the only table we've ignored, kind of.
Okay, I go over to table 2 and I
That's-
loot it.
As Toby's helping me get this stuff on.
Okay. You swipe off a lot of the stuff from table 2. I
Into
will
the
keep
bag
that
of
in mind.
holding, not the portable hole, because Roulette has that.
Got it. Okay.
In my breast pocket.
Okay.
Functionally, we'll kind of undergo some minor, what's it called? Initiative between Roulette and these two people. Roulette, go ahead and roll initiative real quick.
Sure. Looking in the north-south hallway, is it just the Reaver and the one stolen?
It does appear to be only one defender.
Oof. Don't love that.
You guys are rolling so good.
He's opposed.
Jesus.
Natural 20, which probably makes sense for the heightened vigilance of these spheres designed by Roulette. They can't be surprised. They're quick to act. Very perceptive creatures. So immediately, right off the bat, the sphere, a section of its armored spherical form pulls apart at the center, and a small item sticks out. But it's not a magic wand. Rather, it's like a small infernal cannon. And it aims it at the wall, and an eruption of flame arcs around the wall and sort of spirals around to encapture where Roulette is standing. Roulette, please make a, I believe it's a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, I knew I should have cast Bless on you.
We also have like a minute and a half.
Oh, on the Zoom.
Feels like we just figured the Zoom. I'll do it now.
Roulette, a 10 will not do it.
You resist.
No, I don't.
And you do not get to resist, for you are not attuned currently.
Oh, don't do anything just yet. I don't think this will make a difference for an AoE spell. I'm visible after the Reaver's hit.
Ignore that D8. I'm trying to fidget. There's a weird interaction here with the. I'm gonna reload. The new advanced dice roller is different, and it's not. The drop-down menu is not working. Pardon. Dude, the drop-down menu doesn't work.
Where's Roulette's blood?
Where's Roulette's what?
Blood.
In her body.
No, where's the blood vials of Roulette and Jiri?
Yeah, someone's welcome to make an investigation check to see if that was swiped into bag of holding or portable hole, or if it's still available, visible somewhere. One of you can make a check, not Telperion, who's otherwise occupied. But Roulette, I'm gonna roll just these dice separately since it's behaving strangely.
No.
Jesus
No.
Christ, Chris.
We'll leave the earlier 5, so 5, an 8, and an 8 for a total of 21 fire damage as this just rips through and around the corridor into you and sort of leaves a subtle outline of your body that gives the Reaver confirmation of where to swing.
I'm already visible after his first swing. I lost concentration with a nat 1 on my save. So
Okay. That will be the sphere's turn, and the Reaver is going to try and hack into you here.
yeah, it's probably gonna do it.
Shield, right?
No
get up to, like,
advantage or anything
17 or
crazy
something.
like
Toby, I can
that.
finish it myself. Look for the vials, the blood, and the lens, so she can't study things anymore.
I'll make an investigation check.
First attack, 14?
I'll cast
I
it.
will shield to get me up to
Okay.
17 because it's
Verbal
12.
and somatic only, right? You don't need, and you have your materials with you anyway. So
I got my tools is the big thing that I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so shield will block that strike, and he'll come back around with a second. 16? Will that break through the shield?
My AC starts at 12, and
So
I
you're to
Plus
17.
17. Yes.
So
Yeah.
first and then second one are repelled by whatever your arcane shield looks like. What does it look like as you're appearing here on the
Oh,
ceiling?
I don't even know what it would look like here. It's
It's a panic shield.
it's literally like a panic shield. I think I probably just use the tools to actively like deflect the thing somehow.
Okay, very cool.
It's strapped to my wrist and I like parry. I don't know.
And then I did an 18 investigation check looking for Jiri and Roulette's bloods.
With an 18, you look around, you don't see them on the tabletops, and without further investigation into the stuff you've already thrown in the bag of holding a portable hole, you're not sure.
It's
but
not
you don't
left
think
in this room.
it does not seem to be left. Correct.
Okay.
I would say it's probably around this time that you help Telperion finally put on the last gauntlet and sabaton strap of his armor, and you guys are equipped in the lab, and Roulette is otherwise paid attention to out in the hallway, and you guys are in full prison break mode.
Door open.
As the door opens and you guys have engaged in aggression with the enemy force, all of you feel a sting right above your heart, including Jiri, within the safety of the Raven slumber, and you just feel like a searing something that has branded you. And we'll see what repercussions that has as a pact has been broken and its repercussions enacted. And next time, I think we'll pick up here as we fully break out and seek aid from allies. And I didn't know how far we would get in the session, and I will now clarify. Upon escape, if successful, we will level up till a level 11.
I hate that. And you started that sentence with if.
If successful.
If successful, so you do not level up at this time. But if you make it out of here to your allies at the coast and escape, that will earn
We've
you
still
level
probably
11.
got 40 minutes of walking on water left.
Yeah,
guess.
probably. Yeah.
And I can cast that with a spell slot, but I'd like to not need to if we don't need to. But
All right. We'll pick up here next time.
Oh.
Great. We didn't get an inspiration last session. I don't know if you remembered any or thought about anybody from last session.
So overall, and one thing I haven't done a great job of is, well, two things. I don't do much great. I sometimes want to jump at the chance mid-session when I see cool stuff going on and reward it right then and there rather than waiting till after. But also, I'm somewhat bad at tracking, who have I given it to lately? How can I make sure to spread the love and look for opportunities to give to other people? However, I think I did give one recently to Jiri, but I do want to give another one to Jiri because in between the being muted and your ability to be actionable, your dialogue stuff that you've been throwing out was so flavorful and like extra, and I really, really loved it. So I think that deserves a point. I won't necessarily retroactively. That'll kind of fit for this session's and last session's a little bit. I'm not going to look for another action, but this session was juicy. I think all of you guys were super active and engaged with creative troubleshooting and problem
I
solving
think
and stuff.
it'll hopefully be next session. But what a way to cap off the first 10 levels of figuring out what Jiri's got going on. He's a changeling and he gets lost in the roles and they're all fighting to be the main role. Like, that's super cool.
Which I would say minor additional insight there that's not really meta knowledge. It's just sort of a reminder is normally, even if that's the case, a changeling person should still be able to sort of self-manage their psychoses. The interjection of Hyperivel fucked up whatever that was and permanently scarred, damaged, affected this changeling's ability to compartmentalize or keep all these roles cohesive and draw from them when required, but
The walls
not
broke
still
down and then the metal was needed to help reform the walls. Dude,
So
incredible.
We have our gear back.
you do have your gear back. No attunements, which is the sort of final obstacle / challenge of you don't get to use all your bells and whistles for the escape. But now you got to break out of here, and there's some threat. So
I have the the shield on my back. I've got the bow out.
Okay. A lot of spell slots have been used, so please diligently have those in mind. Track those. And attunements, don't attune to anything more than what you already had on you, like the Nature's Mantle, the Medallion, whatever. Telperion had the Yukata, and then Roulette had, what did you have with you? Your notebook. Your notebook was what you,
tools, my notebook.
Well, now you have your stuff, but I was mostly curious of, you had your notebook as the thing availed to you in your cell, so no attunements currently.
No, that's not true. Then, my boots.
Oh, flying boots. Yes, that's true. And you created your own attunements.
The spell restoring ring, which has already been used today because I did my little tiny serpents.
Well, and also
and Jiri, by the way, at the time of the original deal, you were availed your flask, your carpet, which I'm going to say was kept and stored along with Daisy in those arcane compartments.
And Loaf.
So some of that stuff, Daisy can be with you if you want, but the carpet is probably in the portable hole, I imagine, at this
probably
time.
Died.
Loaf doesn't need food or water.
Air?
He's just been chilling.
Yeah, I would say you are reaching through Telperion's cell, and you just feel a puffball, and it's just this cute little fat griffinling that's just like looking around.
Yes, he's immune to this kind of fear. He's just too dense.
He's too dumb.
Exactly, it's the best part about it.
Little Venus Djinn just sitting in the back of it.
Literally, yeah.
It's Archie.
Can I retroactively make him a Venus Djinn?
Yeah.
Or a fat Jupiter one. I think that works best.
Yep.
Tabo.
All right.
Sweet. It's so exciting to be breaking out here. Also,
Jiri is still currently at 5 levels of exhaustion, but housed safely in Raven Slumber. Otherwise, get to the coast. Get through the threats and get to the coast. That's your goal.